Hello. Hello. There we go. We should be here. Right.
Bonjour. Jay.
Woo! In fact, before we do anything... Where is it? Boom! Hey, animation. Right, welcome to Heavyweight Gaming, where we just play tabletop, loads of it, ridiculously amounts of it. D&D on a Monday, D&D on a Tuesday, Cyberpunk on a Thursday, Pathfinder starting next week on a Friday, Vampire starting on a Sunday. Yeah. So, welcome to the channel. If you're new, great. If you're not, you should be here every bloody week. So, we're going to do social media first, get it all out. I'm going to write this down, so I've just got a script to do every time. And then we can blast through it. If you go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and put in Heavyweight Gaming, you'll find them. I was moving. We'll let you off. You will find us on social media where I post all the times we're going live and then random stuff about writing and life and all that good stuff. But go check it out. It's super cool. I will entertain you. Maybe not. So, if you go to Discord in the chat, there we go. There's a link. You can join our Discord. Share it. People will jump on. We use it more and more these days. It's good for keeping track of everything. Please join us on the Discord. And if you've got questions that you want to throw us about Dungeon Mastering and playing, and you've got homebrew ideas and stuff, save it for the Discord. Jump on the Discord and put it in there where we can answer you. Whereas if you try and ask us in the chats while we're playing games, we can't answer you. Just last few sessions. All right? Just save your questions. We'll answer them. Come to the Discord. What was the other one I was going to say? YouTube. Go to YouTube and you'll find hundreds of hours of stuff we've been doing over the last couple of years, like lockdown and before and all this. You can follow the last 65 sessions of Fables Among Titans. Session 66 tonight. Nearly to a funny number, apparently, but we don't know what that number is yet. So
67.
67. Get that on a t-shirt. Funny number, 67. So, what's that? So, blah, 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 blah. Where are we next? Sponsors now? We'll do sponsors. Coyote Grey, Chibi tokens. They're amazing. I love Chibi artwork. It doesn't matter what artist they are. If they do chibi artwork, I will probably fall in love with it. However, Coyote Grey, sexy little bastard he is, managed to catch my eye straight away, and I bought all their chibi tokens straight away, including their Cyberpunk ones. Go to Roll20 Marketplace, put in Coyote Grey, and you'll get to see all this stuff. Hundreds of tokens, and they're like $4.99 to grab them. So if you play like Roll20, or if you use any other virtual tabletops, you can download them, use them in your games, etc. Amazing. If you've got a Twitter, and put up R. Burson, I'll do that now. Go find them on Twitter. And you'll get to see the other stuff he's doing. He's doing a little webcomic and stuff that he's starting up. He's responsible for the personalised tokens you see in the sliding show. In the slideshow. There you go. Just loads of tokens sliding around. And the tokens that we use on our Roll20 maps and stuff. So go check out them. Loki Battle Mats. Award-winning. Amazing. Super Kickstarters. Everything they do just turns to gold because they're brilliant at what they do. If you want a big book of battle maps that you just want to flip out on a table, excuse me, flip out on a table like A3 size, so you've got taverns and towns and dungeons and sewers and forests and tundras and mountains, arcane magic circles, go check out Loki Battle Mats. They've got loads and loads of stuff in there that you can use. They've just done a sci-fi one a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. That immediately got funded. They're currently working on their castles and caverns, so go check them out. They're absolutely brilliant, and we use them in pretty much 90% of our games. Well, sponsors us. Roughworks Creative. Go check out Roughworks on Facebook. He never posts, but look at his pictures. They're beautiful. Everything he does is all handcrafted, blood, sweat, and tears. Literally rips the tree apart with his bare hands. It's a bit of a throwback to Captain America. There's very little difference between them, except one's got a massive grey beard, the other one is an Avenger. So, Sawdust and Swear Words, go check them out. Bardic Inspiration, go check them out. For like that, candles, they do beautiful candles. There's one lit in my house every single day, every single day. There's a scented candle. What else we got? Ashana is a beautiful glass crafter. Streams today. We'll probably read her at the end of the session. If you go check out Ashana on Instagram and Twitter and Twitch, it's all the same word, Ashana. Go check her out. Her glass crafting is super cool. I fell in love with it the first little miniature she did. She does anything from World of Warcraft Murlocs to ducks. You know, she's done little miniatures of people's D&D characters and stuff like this. Super cool. And soon, dates will be announced, etc. I'll be running a one-shot for Ashana and her party in Colossus very late at night, but we'll let you know all about that. Surenscape, unofficial sponsor. However, as they say, epic games deserve epic music. They provide the music, and we just happen to provide the epic game. Go check them out if you want ambience, and you play around the table, and you're playing out your Bluetooth device, your TV, your PC, your laptop, your phone, anything like that. You can create really cool ambient moments. You know, dragons breathing fire, orcs coming over the hill, elven vales, busy towns, taverns, fire crackling, and all that sort of stuff. Really, really cool. If you play online like we do, your friends download the web player app, you invite them to your game, and they get to listen to it through their computer. So yeah, it's good.
Enjoy a lot of birds.
There's birds and pistachios everywhere. Yeah, Tasha's Heavier Crockpot Bits and Bobs. If you've got a DM's Guild and you like 5th edition source material, about a year ago, or just over a year ago, a bunch of our beautiful nerdy friends got together, drew a load of beautiful pictures, came up with some beautiful subclasses, some beautiful spells, and beautiful everything. Just go check it out. Less than $10, 200 copies sold. It's amazing, and is the first step for us releasing, or at least hoping to push out our Kickstarter this year, which will be based in Atoria, and there'll be a source book and loads of stuff to do with custom dice and a DM screen and some of miniatures. Also, we're just going mad with it, so it'll be brilliant. And the source book will be based in Atoria, which is a nation within Colossus. Yeah. Bits. Do the bits one. Bring up my monkey face, Mel.
Bring me the monkey face.
I need my rerolls.
I mean, you could do it, you know.
Well,
It's not even loading.
no.
Why are you not loading?
So do you feel sorry for this lovely bunch of coconuts? Sasha, I think you're an honorary coconut at the minute.
Why?
Just saying, you got to get these coconuts out there. It's not working, Mel. I don't know what you've done.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Do you feel sorry for the adventurers? We need to change that.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks,
Question mark, monkey face. Donate 200 bits. Cheers to give the party a reroll. They can't be used on the DM or death saving throws. They don't roll over to the following week, and there is no longer a cap. So as much as you want to throw in at these mad coconuts, I need a t-shirt. Throw them in there, and they can use them to their heart's content. If Dwarf Warrior's on, you can throw 500 bits in, and I get a reroll. So lovely. Is that it? Is that it?
Oh, if you enjoyed Tasha's Heavier Crockpot of Bits and Bobs, this weekend coming, there is a launch of something new coming from the same team that brought you.
Yes, Cass. Is this the Trader's Compendium?
The Trader's Compendium.
And is it coming out this week?
This weekend.
Woo! That will be all over our social medias and Discords and stuff like this. Yeah. And that is all the backgrounds and stuff and the toolkits and that you can get for different...
There is backgrounds,
trades.
toolkits, new subclasses, NPC, shop descriptions. There
I
is
shall be buying this when it comes out.
literally hundreds of stuff in there. It's if you thought that Tasha's was a big supplement, then you ain't seen
nothing yet.
yet.
Let's go. Cool. Right. In that case, are we on for... Where are you? Are we up for a recap?
No.
Always.
You need,
No,
you need to do a
if-
proper recap for Maybonics as well, because they missed it.
You missed it.
Also, if he doesn't say it though, it didn't happen. So.
Oh!
True. True.
They were moving house, to be fair.
Right. So... chat, just so you know, the mix of Surenscape is on the same as the players, so I may need to turn it up and down as we go. Let me know if you can't hear it or it's too loud, etc. So, last session. Were we still in Roll20? Yes, we were. You managed to finish the fight against the Water Crow and one of these Order of the Pale demonic paladins. The paladin fight took place in the material realm, and the battle against Watercrow took place in what is called a blood dream. The party was split. Half of you fought in the Blood Dream with Zerin Summerbreeze, the mother to Kesfion and Xandria, and half of you fought with Solomon, the father to Kesfion and Xandria. During the battle, other than a hell of a lot of damage being dished out from both sides, Sahar al-Faraz, the mentor and walker of the tribe of the Al-Haris, was hit with a disintegrate spell and unfortunately did not survive its magics. Zerin then captured his soul with a spell, and you all left the Blood Dream realm. Those in the material realm defeated the demon quite impressively. The Watercrow was smashed in the face with a shillelagh, and the demon was evaporated by a divine Ozra of death. So, leaving the this buried summer temple, you made your way back through the tunnel system, past all the corpses of the Darklings that had clearly been sacrificed for this blood dream or whatever it is these demons and Watercrow was doing, and you made your way back to the camp. When you got back to the camp, it was sharing its camp spot with the Shadan Tarus, another fair tribe that wander the deserts on the lookout and such, as many of the fair tribes do, protecting summer, as it were. And they are sharing bread, and there's somewhat of not a party, but a gathering, a get-together. There is merriment and such. When it is discovered that Sahar had passed, there is an immediate arrangement of a wake. That voice guy, it's gravy time. Thanks for the follow. As the wake is arranged, you all began to mingle with the crowd, and essentially just Sapphire sat down and had a drink. Xandria and Kesfion went and spoke with their mother about what had happened, and looked further into Xandria's illness. Ruby and Kesfion shared a beautiful, super cute moment, and I hate saying that word, about washing one's hair. Ari and Xandria spent the evening just enjoying each other's company. And then Ozra, or at least so Sapphire believed, sat beside him and asked if they'd seen Owlbearer. Not having seen them for a little while, Ozra went and mingled with the crowd. Then Ozra, so Sasha Ozra, also went looking for Owlbearer, saw Owlbearer interacting with someone, then fell backwards into the tent. Rushing over to see what had gone on, it was discovered that Owlbearer had received a very, very magically enhanced fatal wound. Unfortunately, the wound was able to resist magic on quite a high level, and it took the life of Owlbearer, and Owlbearer's spirit was released and took its place northward towards the Pride Mountains. Asking for help, quite loudly, someone came to Ozra's aid, or so she believed, and in front of her she saw herself to start with, and then the creature took form of Ozra's sister. Before using the divine magic recall, Ozra was not in a position to counter it, and so successfully, Ozra's sister disappeared. And I believe that is where we left the session. So, it is quite merry out in the camp. You are all blissfully unaware of anything else that has gone on. So we're going to start with you, Ozra. Behind you, in the tent, you can still hear the merriment going on outside. Flaps of tent going off in the wind. Behind you is the statue form of Owlbearer. What do you do?
She'll just sit in stunned silence for a while, just being unable to move, just rooted to the spot, watching him, having seen her sister, the last person she ever expected to see. Eventually she staggers to her feet and goes to the tent flap and just calls out, "Help me! Someone please help me!"
Sapphire, you're the first person that is closest to this and sees and hears Ozra as she comes out of the tent. And there are a few that react nearby to you.
Sapphire will leap to his feet and monk speed over. What's up? Is everything okay? Did you find Owlbearer?
No. She'll just head back into the tent, unable to really put her thoughts into words, just so scattered with everything.
Sapphire will follow her in.
You see before you, Sapphire, a statuesque form of Owlbearer back against the main pole of the tent. Cracks along the stonework. They've been turned to stone, and there are cracks in the stonework. His armour is on the floor next to him, and on his torso, the wound, obviously now part of the stonework, is very large and wide, and there is a lot of blood on the floor.
Did you find him like this? What happened?
I couldn't do anything to stop it. I tried high level magic and it did nothing.
Maybe someone else knows more. And Sapphire will go to the front of the tent and will, with his full Leonin lungs, roar and then call the party by name individually.
You all hear your name clearly roared across the music and the merriment and the dancing.
So I'm guessing at the first roar, let alone before names, like Ruby and Cass will sort of like either look towards it or look towards each other, abandon what they're doing and just, or Ruby certainly will. I'm assuming that Cass also runs towards the screaming in this sort of situation. So Ruby appears, she's still got their healing, but like some still nasty cuts across her face, which looks cleaner than you've seen it for a while, and her hair's sort of like, there's a couple of braids in it and one that's like hanging loose where clearly
Not quite finished.
Not finished. This is an interrupted work in progress with Cass right behind her.
Sapphire just kind of, Albert needs help. Ozra couldn't fix him.
You know, Ruby, the second somebody needs help, she'd literally just slides you out the way and runs into the tent.
As you go rushing into the tent. No. Let me just stop. As you go rushing into that, you two see the statuesque form, the stone form of Owlbearer, back against the main pole of the tent.
So there would be like a sharp intake of breath, that kind of sheer surprise, but it's also that kind of blood. So I take it it sounds bad, but it's also like not a lot of point in rushing at this moment in time, kind of. So she will slowly approach, taking her time to examine the statue. What would it? Investigation, maybe, I suppose, or Arcana. Neither of them are particularly good for
What
Ruby.
are you trying to achieve?
Ruby is looking for any kind of indication of, like, what is this? What happened? How does this happen?
Give me an Arcana check.
It's a flat 11.
You're fully aware that magic has been involved, like just to be able to turn someone to stone. You don't know a lot about Owlbearer's like heritage or anything, but for a blade, I mean, the wound on the torso you can still see in the stonework is very wide and quite clearly a fatal one. But there is a hue of arcane energy, like residue left around Owlbearer, but nothing that's given you any answers.
So, if it were an organic body, I'd be looking at a reincarnation spell. But as Ruby is not convinced you can reincarnate or even heal a stone. She's instead going to put a hand to the healing staff that's still... No, because she'd have left it lying around. She will, in her mind, reach out through the connection that she knows is somehow there, and she'll ask, probably in Druidic, is there anything we can do for him?
You're asking the staff.
I'm asking Okarian because I realised halfway through realising that I'd touched the staff that the staff would actually be back where Ruby and Cass were.
Okay, give me a religion check.
That's an 18. That's intelligence as well, isn't it? Yeah, that's an 18.
Okay. You just hear, let him go, girl. Let him go.
Ruby will nod and turn back to Ozra and just, I'm so sorry, and just pull you in for a short auntie hug. Not a short hug, you're gonna have to grapple check to stop hugging me, but I'm a short auntie, so...
Divine smite.
I didn't deserve this.
What in the hell happened? Last thing I heard, you were looking for him, and
I came up to you and said that?
he looks at you like you're a little bit insane. Yeah, not that long ago, but I hadn't seen him, so I couldn't help.
I haven't spoken to you tonight.
Ruby will look at Cass and say in Sylvan, changeling?
He'll just kind of like look at Sasha being like, that's like a sort of road work. I should hope so. Kind of like look at that. Yes, that's what she is.
Sapphire's gonna on hearing that, Sapphire spends a little bit of time. He opens up his notebook and starts sketching a rather crude drawing of the Ozra that he saw in his vision, and said, "Are there two of you? Because I've also seen this."
It's not bad. Give me a performance check, actually.
Oh no! No. This went really well last time. But it's probably not going to go. That is a 1 minus 1.
That's a stick figure.
Oh boy! She
That's
has your eyes going!
That's a blank piece of paper.
Do you all remember when he drew the runes real technically and it was perfect?
Yeah.
So apparently you're not a people artist. You know what I mean? So, I mean, despite the moment when Sapphire does produce the picture of what he believes he saw was...
Let's focus on the hand sigil. Let's go. Let's.
It's not as accurate. You couldn't use it in a police lineup, but it's you know, at least they've got dark hair. That's about as close.
That wasn't me. Like I say, I haven't spoken to you this evening. It just makes me worry how long she has been here.
Do you know who would have done this?
I know who it is. It just can't be.
Why, did you think they were dead?
She
Who?
was dead.
Who is? Like, I literally saw. I thought this was like a scary, if you went evil version of you, but like, Altaria showed me this person, and we have a lot to talk about. He like says to Kes, "There's a lot happened in Bay," but
Maybe we should have talked about that.
everyone just seemed to be busy. I thought I'd
We
fit
were
people
in somewhat of a...
later.
I had a sister. had a whole family actually. Where I used to live, it was a region in the Underdark called Orn.
Kess is just gonna hold a hand up. This sounds like something we might wanna.
Yeah.
Give me. And you'll kind of step outside the tent and cast message to Ari.
I was gonna say I didn't want to interrupt the thing, but I feel like if they've been yelled by like everybody,
everybody
it probably
was
would've-
yelled. So I'm assuming you'll all filter in.
Okay.
Yeah,
so-
like-
slowly
Yeah.
but surely filter in.
It's
Not
just
immediately.
Yeah, it's just because yourselves got there pretty quick. But yeah.
I think like we were probably further away.
Yeah,
there we
yeah.
go. Put it
Yeah,
that way.
there you go, that'll do.
As like it happens, just Andrea just like very quickly just drops Ari's hand like
yeah.
nobody's seen that. Nobody's seen that.
And Harry more grabs
They
it
were
and
having
pulls
a
her along with
moment.
it.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were
having
around
a
the
moment,
back
it was
of one of
ruined.
the
She doesn't want to be
tents.
part of it.
Chuffing Sebastian singing "Kiss the Girl."
Harry's still doing up some of his shirt buttons.
Yeah.
She
So
can get
what?
undressed.
I love the concept of Harry. As Andrew goes, "Do you wanna drink?" Yeah.
Flirting.
He starts stripping.
So Harry and Zandri, you hear the call of the Lion King, and you make your way over to the tent. Just as you get to the tent, Kesvion steps out, and you see them in front of you, Kes.
Is everything okay?
No.
It's gravy time.
And you'll kind of gesture back in.
Sandra just looks at Ari. I guess we'll continue our little discussion later then.
Gosh.
And when Zandria walks in and kind of like sees the stone mummified body at the back, how on earth has this happened? The camp is supposed to be safe.
Sapphire's going to quickly go exit and like grab a bench or something, bring it in, and close the tent doors.
There are like there's plenty of seating cushions and such like this in here. You can sit and talk quite comfortably. Benches are not really a thing in the nomadic tribes.
That's okay. He was going to sit on the floor anyway, so that works. Yeah, but he'll doors down on the tent.
Yep.
Make sure there's some lighting,
Do
and
not
then take a
disturb
seat.
sign on the outside.
Yeah.
Is this someone who might still be around?
No,
Cow.
she
Wait, what happened? Why is Albert? What?
Apparently, Ozra's sister's terrifying.
You have a sister.
did, or at least I thought I did.
Sapphire holds up the picture again as if it's a portrait.
Sandria looks at the portrait and just.
You know when kids
What
paint
is
the
that? Is
hand?
that a chicken?
When kids paint the hand and
Yeah.
like just put it on and put a smiley
Yeah.
face on it. That's essentially what Sapphire
That's
has done.
what I-
Yeah.
Put it on the goddamn fridge.
Sandria will take the picture from Sapphire. Just look at it. Look back at Sapphire. Look at the picture. Yeah, this isn't your best work. Just rips it up.
Wow.
He genuinely looks a little bit crestfallen.
Tears rolling it.
She was masquerading as me, walking around camp. Who knows how many other people she could have been impersonating and for how long.
Okay. Once we are finished here, then the best thing we can do, Kess, is we can go around and talk to everyone and just see if anyone has spoke with Ozra this evening and just see if they've mentioned anything that could be classed as information that shouldn't have been passed on. Not that I imagine there will have been. Everyone's celebrating at the moment, but slip of the tongue, that's all it takes.
That's it, and she could have been anybody.
Okay. We'll make sure to question everyone once we're finished here.
I've tried looking at the how that everyone keeps asking, but it's so far beyond druid craft. Is the best I can give you is magic.
She stabbed him with something. Don't know what it was. It resisted even a greater restoration.
He's working with the pale ones.
Osra, just give me a quick Arcana check, please.
There's my character sheet.
See what happens with someone with an actual instant.
23.
There you go.
There we go.
Can you imagine being smart? Like,
Imagine.
To be fair, I've got a +3 on Arcana. I'm not too bad.
yeah, when have you ever used it?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Occasionally.
as this conversation's
Gosh.
happening, and as you say that sentence, Osra, you kind of, it goes back through your mind. When you cast Great Restoration and it didn't take hold, it's as if the magic of the wound countered the curative magic.
Son of a bitch. There's something about that knife she's used. It repels any magics cast upon it.
Sounds familiar.
I was going to say, does that not sound like a dark version of the Fey knife thing?
Fey knife?
The knife that was used to cut open entrance between Ravenholm and the Copper Forest was what we have classified as the Fey knife. It was basically just like tearing through fabric.
It was Ulrich's, but Toodles now has it.
It was the Red Ladies.
Originally.
And do we know if there's more than one?
We don't, but we can assume there probably is.
If anyone was going to have a knife that did this kind of version of it, it was going to be that pale lot.
So what were you saying about someone looking like me being involved? That you saw in Vey?
Oh god, there's a bit of a story. The bit that concerns potentially, I guess, your sister, I was informed of some people that Natathrun, Sasha, and Altarian Wishel were working with the Pale Order, and I thought it may have been.
Sapphire.
I'll come back. I promise, guess.
I think you should start at the top and
this.
work your way
Alright,
down.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I've had some drinks tonight. I thought we were doing this tomorrow.
You left the desert.
Okay, I left the desert, went to Toodles, then Vey, with your dad. What we found when we got there was Owlbearer, and he looks over at the statue for a moment. Quite hurt. All of the members of my temple, the Temple of Haywar, were murdered. Remember the beautiful scene we left, like literally like half an hour before? Everyone there was dead. Everything was on fire apart from the one tree we came through. And then my sensei had his healing magics ripped from him by a big ass 20-foot-ish tall demon wearing a magical mirror around his neck. He pointedly looks around a little bit. Apparently these things, the thing that we thought was a vampire that I met is one of the 3 embodiments of death. And the thing, big terrifying looking skeleton in the dream, I think maybe somewhat related. Basically, the creator titan from the myths that seem to be everywhere in this world banished the trio into that mirror realm, or a realm that is not connected to this plane, and that mirror is a gateway in. And this Kelthias he says as the third option, definitely not being given help, sounded like one of the heads of this order, and they were serving these embodiments of death. We barely escaped with our lives. All three of us fought our way down the mountain. When we got to a way station up the mountain where people rest for the night, we took some rest. We, tried to recover ourselves. I was telling people they needed to evacuate and stumbled upon Otarian and a rather beautiful woman with no hands in a circle of salt with a large ivory. I guess it's what a body of a soul forged is before it has a soul in it. And he was transferring her into it to give her a body, which she is now in this ivory soul forged thing. So the Tatharin Sasha does have a body at the moment. They are there to fight Matthias. And I said at this point, okay, maybe we are all on the same team. We should talk more. And I got given this, and he'll hold up this stone that lets him contact. I was told I can use this once to contact him. They are very fully against these fiendish lot, like we are. And I got told that there are two individuals on this plane that have dealings with them. One of which is Soul Taker, and I've already explained to you all her part in it, and basically trying to find a way to keep them away from Viconia. And the other person was who I thought might have been a potential echo of Ozra. Because, yeah, scary looking Ozra with different iconography for her clericness, I think, looks at Ozra a bit like... And
what was the iconography?
It was like a clawed hand. And she had it like as her religious symbol. It was on her tabard. It was, I think, on a shield. But she definitely, it seemed to be what she was using as her symbol.
Have I seen that before, AD?
Yeah.
Well, I saw her wearing it, but
Yeah.
do I know what it is?
Give me a religion check.
And
Man.
and then after that, it was Artarian who sent us to Toodles, and then obviously Toodles sent us through the dream to you all. That's how we got back so quickly. She sent us straight into your mum's dream.
I'm not religion.
Oh, what on religion, sorry?
21.
21.
Sorry.
Fucking high level clerics.
I'd
Saurice.
hope I would know religion things.
I mean, yeah. If anyone's gonna. Saurison. Saurison. Saurison is the acclaimed hunter, terror, ripper, gouger, slayer, teeth in the night, talons in the darkness, sort of.
It's our friend.
Sort of deity. There is an absolute to their followers. Whenever someone is marked, two outcomes: either the hunter dies or the prey. They're not a widely worshipped deity. Like, you can't go into many cities and find them, and they're more many throw the word cult at them, unlike any other religion. But yeah, they are quite small in following, or so it is told.
That's the iconography of Saurison, the hunter god. Not massively widely worshipped, but brutal.
Never heard of them.
Me neither. And that's kind of where my side ends. All of my found family are dead, and us three got back safely, and we got some people out, and Catherine Sasha was acting quite childlike. I guess maybe she's starting her life more again. But they were going to try and deal with Colossus. Don't know how that's going to go, but at least we know they're against these lot.
So sorry for your other family, Sapphire.
I don't think I'm processing it yet. We had to battle our way out. The thing in the mirror kept ripping my astral form out of my body. I forgot that. She wanted to have a conversation with me. Maybe I should have spoken to her and found out what she was going to say, but I was mostly scared at that point and fought back to my body.
You should have smashed the mirror.
If I could have gotten close enough to Colossus, I would have given it a go. He was wearing it like a bit of bling.
Like a holy symbol.
This is an awful lot to digest.
I'm going to inform someone of what's transpired here. I'll be back. And not going to intensely RP it, but he'll find someone of note.
Probably Dad.
Realistically, yeah. And just be like, this has gone down. We have the remains such that they are. We need to be aware that there's been someone in the camp who has been assuming the faces of others, and then return.
And you tell that to Solomon, yeah?
Yeah.
Other than the expected, exchange of hug and such, Solomon will pass a few words of the respect he found for Owlbear in such a short time of their battles that were there together. And then we'll go about informing both tribes there of a second soul that they need to celebrate for the evening.
Back in the tent, as Cass left to do that, Ruby will have asked Ozra if there are any last rites she knew of that Albara would have wanted completing.
I don't know if you ever mentioned Eddie. Was he of any particular faith, or?
So in a way, yes. So the Pride Mountains that split like Ravenholm and the Tona Highlands and the north area of this side of the world is where Owlbear is from, and he's known. Their like race is known as the Boyshol, and they are literally children of the mountain. So as far as you're aware, when you've taught obviously religious things before with Owlbear on the road, his soul will go to the mountains. His family will come to the mountains and go on a bit of a pilgrimage to find where his soul rests and then say goodbye to it. Is kind of their tradition.
Okay, I'll relay that to Ruby. He told me to come and find him.
Like your cold weather together, isn't he?
Sorry, I like the cold.
In lieu of anything like more concrete for the remains, such as the wrapping that cast of Zandria, or laying them face down or face up, or Ruby will take the whittling knife, and if she can sort of tuck it into the stone shape of Albera's hand and make it stay there, she will, and she'll say, "It did keep me calm, but it turns out I'm rubbish at it. Maybe you should have it back." And just rest her forehead lightly against whichever part of him, so probably solar plexus.
He's sat, like the statue's sat, so...
Then against his forehead, and just sit back away, because she'll fall back into what she knows from her culture, which is to kind of keep a vigil over the deceased until they're buried, usually, or cremated.
Ozra will do similar, just saying a few of her own prayers while Ruby's doing that.
As you both finish your traditions, the statue and the whittling knife begin to crumble slowly into a pile of dust. And there is a pile of dust upon the floor, and there is almost a glittering amongst the dust. No wind seems to shift it, no breeze, no flapping of the tent's entrance. It seems to sit there, quite heavy and glittering, grey stone and silver glitter through it.
Really kind of get like confused look at like, should we sweep that up to be scattered somewhere, or should it be left?
Just a moment. Before doing anything to the entirety of it, Ozra will pull out a potion vial, clean and empty, and take a little bit of it up into the vial, and then sort of say half to herself, half out into the universe. We'll go together. I promise.
Once Ozra is finished with the potion bottle, Sandria will just look and say, would you mind if I equally just took a little bit so that I can send him off the way that my tribe does? He made quite an impact by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sandria will kneel down to in front of the pile of ash, and she will just lightly scoop up a little bit into her hands, into the palm of her hands. And then she will basically stand up and exit the tent. And similarly, when they were on the ship and Xandria gave Ari's grandfather a send-off, she will do the same sort of motion outside, just sort of like behind the tent, away from everybody, just like up on one of the sand verges. Just silent words of sort of admiration and whatnot for Owlbearer, and then blowing it off into the wind.
As when you did it for Ari's grandfather, you feel that presence of a supernatural energy, and you hear deep drums beneath the earth. Just a low boom, boom, as you see the dust just take to the air and fade away. And as it fades, so does the noise of the drums.
Oh, making me cry. The usual Emperor Tuesday.
Made it
roll
45
players.
minutes in.
Yeah.
Oh boy, my brain's just like, oh, I know what I want to do, but I'm just like, oh, try to stop crying first.
Ari sits in the tent and greets.
No, I feel like Ari would kind of go up to him, probably when he was still kind of a statue, and then kind of watch him crumble and just be like, but we'll probably sign to him, and just, again, he's not religious as such, but he'd probably be more kind of, thank you, friend, thank you for supporting us, thank you for being such a good, he'll just do the signing that they got to know his language so well. It started up as thieves' cant, but then it kind of developed into actually knowing his language a little bit better. And he'll kind of just sign away to a little pile of dust. And we'll probably be a bit teary, and then when Xandria takes it off, we'll kind of know what she's going to go and do, and like kind of stay in the tent, like well away from everybody while he has a little cry to himself, because that's what I'm doing, so there you go.
Method, Mel, I love it. Sapphire, you doing out?
Sapphire's just kind of knelt by the dust. There's a point where if people are actually paying any attention, he signs one of the few things he knows, which was friend, at it, because that was one of the things he did learn from Owlbearer. And he was quite close with Owlbearer while he had him, so he's just going to stay there and kind of do the silent meditation thing on his life and what he knew of him.
Meditation or key meditation?
Ooh. Fuck it, let's go with a key meditation, see what it does. Because, head forward, don't
shouldn't have
think of
asked. I shouldn't have
consequences. That's the way we go.
So as
Done
you
you so well so far.
Let's go.
every party's got a button pusher. So Sapphire, as you prepare yourself and you perform your normal meditations, loss of life is pretty new to Sapphire. Like, you spent a lot of time training, and it's only over the last few months that you've gone out to face reality, as it were. So, I mean, there are plants die, animals die, people die, and that it's not a surprise to Sapphire, but this is the closest you've been to it personally. And a lot of it, last couple of days. You sink into your meditations, and you can't help that your emotions take you deeper, and you feel your ki rising through your being, and you see a single orb of it float out in front of you. And it reminds you of those times that when you do call upon your ki, you do reach out to your sensei or to deeper things, your sister in the past, and you grasp the orb and clutch it close to your chest. More of a comforting thing. And for a moment it's tangible, it's real, it's, not quite a teddy bear, but, it's comforting to hold. And then, whew, that ki dissolves and you sink into your astral meditation. Give me a D3 roll.
6 and half it.
That was a 2. Nice in the middle.
2. Give me a moment, young Thundercat. Okay. You sink back, and for a moment you see Owlbearer stood in front of you, full on, soul form, as it were, just in front of you. And then a scene starts to apparate behind them, and it's a flashback. You start to see the temple of Hue in Ve, where you've just been and found Owlbearer. Owlbearer doesn't recognise you or see you there, and you see him walking towards the bench that you've seen him on. You see him take part in a fight against 2 creatures covered in this slick oil with the rainbow-esque colouring through the oil, and he defeats both of them but takes a horrific wound in doing so. Owlbearer is about to lose his life there and then on this bench, and knows it, and sits there and begins to make the piece of jewellery in his hand when you start to click, this, and you look back at the tree and you see yourself and Solomon whoop, whoop, come through the tree. And as you see yourself walking across the courtyard, the scene changes, and you see a darkness, not really walls and ceiling, but just a hiddenness about this area. And in the middle of this blurred shadow, you see Senserin, battered, bruised, taking very shallow breaths. Chains that go beneath his skin and reach up to a dark red crystallised orb sat on a plinth, maybe 10-15 feet away from Senserin, and there is a pulse. Pale white blue light rushes up the chains and becomes dark crimson bloody red into the orb. Again, sapping whatever it is from Senserin. And then his old wise eyes turn and look straight at you in your astral form. Don't come, Sapphire. Don't come. And you snap, forced out of your meditation.
He's gonna keep that to himself right now and try and stoically cover up any emotion that he's currently feeling.
Cool. Is anybody else doing anything immediately?
No, Kess will be busy sorting the part that he was already kind of sorting.
Okay. So I'll monologue the night, and then we shall get on to the morning. 2 seconds. Might get a bit loud. After you all said your goodbyes in the tent, the dust has been scattered to the stars. You shared your moments in your ways that you say goodbye. The merriment outside is still there. There is still a celebration of Sahar's soul passing on. Excuse me. And you quickly hear that they've... I need a drink. 2 seconds. It's gravy time. Barbarian, thank you.
Just nice casual bit of role playing tonight.
Just casual.
cash.
It's fine.
We bit of lightness,
Sob
yeah.
fest.
I did say tonight was going to be traumatic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game with AD. It's always going to be traumatic.
That is true.
But we've lost 2 NPCs this episode.
So, hello, Barbarian. Is it Fargrim the Barbarian? Gravy time. Right. The merriment carries on. They are celebrating the passing of Sahar al-Faraz, the walker of the tribe of the Al-Haris, the tribe you are currently with or being hospitalized. Wow. Receiving hospitality. Hosted. The Shadan Tarus also join in and are aware of Sahar's stories. The Protector, the one who walked the dunes, a warning of danger to those that might be thinking to challenge the tribe or tribes. The Walkers, there are many amongst many of the tribes, and they all share that almost elevated status. Many youths, the geckos of the deserts, the summer fair, the younglings, all learn how to combat the enemies of the tribe, the enemies of summer, those that wish eternal darkness and other such dramatic tales told around campfires. But the most important lesson that the Walkers teach, and the Summer Breeze children will know this personally, especially from Sahar, is how to survive, not only against the desert, but in life. How to be at one's side, how to take on the adversities, and side by side you can pretty much succeed any of them. Zerin steps up, and around the several fires, and everyone's kind of just... There's a lot of smiles. Even when these tales are told, people share their experiences of how Faraz taught them sword play, or different cacti they could eat, drink from out in the desert, certain bugs, you know, anything from young scouting techniques to full-on in-your-face combat. When Zerin speaks, she speaks of a time he walked in the dream of a child of summer, a child of Summer Breeze, and how he wandered there and protected her from the darkness that had taken hold of this child's dreams, of hounds that attacked deep within the subconscious of this child of Summer Breeze, and how the Hound Master is still yet to be taken. Solomon then will take part as more drinks are raised and such. A new walker is to be chosen. There is a very tall gecko-like lizard folk called Zabir, golden scales with a pale purple underbelly, wielding sword and scimitar, leather armour covered in scrolls. A shock of thick hair from the centre of their head kind of gets brushed back. And Solomon names Zabir as the new walker of the Al-Haris. There is a celebratory crying of cheer and clinking of drinks and such. Food is shared, lots of sweets. Zabir then is not paraded, but goes around the tribe, and they are all wishing them luck and such. The Shadan Tarus, the same. Their walker comes over and is offering and a welcoming to the to this particular path. As all those celebration things happen for Sahar al-Faraz, it is time to celebrate Owlbearer, who, between yourselves and a few other folk that are aware of such things linked to Owlbearer's story so far, there is talk of the Reapers of Kashai, those that hunt the undead, and that Owlbearer was a part of this particular mercenary group that travelled a lot of Colossus, walking under the blossoms of the Vare dynasty, fighting in the arenas of Atoria, hunting the blood drinkers in Ravenholm. With a little bit of prompting from Ozra, those that are of a more stand on a stool and shout to the crowds. The last true adventure of Owlbearer was visiting the realm of echoes, seeking out a magical mirror in an attempt to stop a demonic order of paladins worshipping whatever it is beyond this mirror. And again, after a little bit of a talk with yourself, Ozra, one of the last lines said about Owlbearer is that his last smile was one for he held dear in his heart. And more cheering happens. The night is then spent in merriment, celebrating. There is drinking, eating, dancing. Sahar Al-Faraz and Owlbearer of the Reapers of Kashai are mentioned a lot in people's just toasting them, even if they've never met them. There is a lot of love and expression of value for their souls to have walked in Colossus. As the night does become deeply night and folks start retiring off and taking their beds, the camp is heavily trafficked. There are a lot of tents now with the two tribes coming together in this almost the same area that the Al Haris took. Everything's just doubled up now. Unless any of you wish to do anything in particular, you will take the night and rest.
Yeah.
Cool. The merriment carries on right through till morning. Most of you get your sleep. Most of the people in the tribes and stuff get their sleep. You six get a long rest.
Yay.
Oh, thank God.
We're ready for the role play. Jesus, I need my stats back.
Just in case.
We are in it for the roleplay, but it's nice to also sleep.
It's nice to have some hit points.
Must have some spells back.
Yeah.
High points.
And I get both wild shapes.
Emma rages. Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I got my radiant soul back. I used everything.
it's now the morning. There's still fires going and people still having a merry drink. A lot of the Fae don't really need more than a few hours to recharge. Shifts are quite easy to roll around, so there's always a constant busyness about the camp, especially with two tribes that have come together. Most of the plan, kids. You all wake up, come out of this particular tents that you chose to stay in, or just out on the sands, wherever you've laid your heads.
I feel like Harry would have got far too drunk last night.
Didn't even make it to a tent.
No.
You just find Harry like literally sat head down, just still sat up but with the head down, just asleep. Sunburnt all the back of the neck.
I was going to say, if that is legit where Ari is, then when Sandra gets up and finds him, she's just going to, like, push him.
So the thing that wakes you up, Harry, is you going boof as you get pushed off the log into the sand.
Ow! What? Oh.
And Xandrio's just leaning, like, above you.
What?
Did you drink too much?
No.
Is there a reason why you slept outside in the desert? I know you're not intelligent, Ari, but come on, it's common sense. You don't sleep outside in the desert.
Little voice pipes up. I slept outside, I'm alright.
And then, not even looking at Ruby, like, Xandria will just point in her direction and just go, "You are built of stouter stuff. He is not."
Oh,
Yeah, alright.
little whale.
Thanks.
Harry, the professional drinker.
Professional drinker does not mean he has the intelligence to survive the wilderness.
I'll give you that.
The Constitution.
So,
I think if I remember rightly, he had some exhaustion from crossing the desert
Yeah,
last
it's
time.
true. Xandria will hold her hand out for him now. Come on, you're gonna want to eat lots today.
The sort of like the little cocoon that is Ruby sort of like sets up and goes, well, I'll put the kettle on.
Ruby's back.
Yeah, Ruby's back. That's a very good idea, Ruby. I would love a cup of tea, actually.
So, as in the middle of the desert, you experience Highland tea. You can all sit as close to one another as you wish around said tea drinking area, and food is aplenty. There are many folk doing similar to the advice that Sandra has just given and eating heartedly. For tonight they dine in hell.
Ruby's literally handed out tea to anyone that walks past that's got a cup.
Tea.
Shake hands.
Tea.
Thank you. This is taking this tea. I don't know why they all went like that.
Pinky out.
Yeah, I don't think I could do pinky out.
Can't do pinky out? What is wrong with you?
That is hurting me to do that. If I can't hold a cup without the two fingers. I'd have to hold it with all.
I have to make you a
Literally
grave
everyone
card and then
else
be like,
has-
no, this is how you hold it.
My grandmother just rolled over in a grave. All right, like, it's just.
Everyone's not just like pinky out.
Right, I hate you all.
I
Right?
did it with a 4-litre bottle.
Yeah, time good.
That's the pinky I can get down with, Sean. So you're all having breakfast, drinking.
Sapphire is very grateful for his magic ring at the moment. Because it warm again.
Oh yeah.
It is toasty.
Toasty.
Is everybody
We need-
okay? Says Zarin as she approaches the group.
Better for sleeping, thank you.
Somebody didn't make it back to their tent last night. And then she just kind of like flicks an eye at Harry.
Zarin immediately looked at Harry. As like half his face is just covered in sand.
I was gonna say, you know, he's not exactly, groomed like he normally is. It's just like,
Yeah. By any chance, is it that one? It's been quite a couple of days.
It has been quite a couple of months. It doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
No, it's going to get worse from here.
Do you have a plan?
No. Never.
I have to go home, I think. At least briefly.
That's apparently the plan.
You don't have to come with me.
We're not letting you go travelling on your own, not with how things are going right now, Ruby. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, it'd be really dumb for anyone to go off on their own to another continent.
It really
Yeah,
would be
wouldn't it?
so,
You just there, Solomon.
so silly.
I'm staying here this time.
That's a shame you'd like my uncle. He makes his own cider.
Looks at Zarin. Zarin just shakes her head at Solomon.
No more gallivanting.
You've had your midlife crisis. Sit down.
No, I'm gonna go with you. We've managed to see much more of the world than I was expecting to. I thought I was well travelled going from Viconia to Vey.
There is still the stuff to deal with in Rivenholm as well.
Oh, no, I just... Like Sapphire, I need to make sure my family are alright. I've been saying
No,
for a
no,
few
I-
days. Twice could be a coincidence, 3 isn't, and your home, and at least one of your homes. That's 3, that's not a coincidence. I've got to check my lot as well.
No, of course.
And then we're going back to Ravenholm because we're going to find him.
At this point, we have so many people that we need to find and deal with. I'm struggling to think how we're going to manage.
No, it won't take long when we find this one.
I've heard that before.
Maybe on the way we can plan, like, what the actual next steps are and what we're doing with everything that isn't, checking on Toa. We apparently now have a dickhead of a sister. No offense, Ozra, I have one too. Who...
not to
Is
mention a
involved.
certain brother,
Wow, we're really doing well on our siblings.
Ruby, you don't have any siblings that could be potentially evil, do you?
Yeah, because Kess has Zandria, but at least we've got her with us.
That is so true.
That derails Reach.
Sapphire looks quite
We'll
proud of himself.
see when we get there.
Well, not counting you lot, I've got 3. I'd be surprised if any of them come up evil.
Well, we'll soon find out, won't we? It could be a recurring theme that, you know, we all have siblings that are evil, except me. I don't have a sibling that is evil. Let's be honest. And then she just looks at Kess. It's not an evil bone in his
and
body,
Ruby's
really.
like, well, yeah, but I mean, your siblings, we've got like the most magic wizard in the world. We've got the taker of souls, and my lot of farmers. If Jimmy's acting up, I'll give him a slap. It'll be fine. It'll be alright. Won't it?
Now that I've realised, there is something about siblings having really impressive titles, like, you know, impressive wizard, the taker of souls. Whatever Kess's was, I've forgotten.
King of the underwater.
Wasn't
Something
he the
to do
king
with
of
water.
tsunamis or something like that?
Tsunami King? Looks at Kess. Tsunami King? Was that the one you got?
That just like that. Luke's response and Kess's response had there's a
They line up exactly.
continues just finishing his breakfast. She's like, I'm not gracing
The
this.
name
but
of a natural disaster that could quite
Ozra.
literally kill millions.
Ozra
And
and
you,
Ari,
the
give me an
rapid summer.
insight check.
That's 19.
Cool.
22.
Ooh.
Despite the fact he slept all night outside.
Whilst they're all, yeah, just the one eye open. It'd have been a 38 if both eyes had been open. As these lot are having a conversation about siblings and titles and the Tsunami King, Ari and Ozra, you notice Zerin go rigid at the mention of Caspian and Tsunami King. Like, react to it and then style it out.
Oh,
Oh,
she knows. We know she knows.
She knows.
God.
Oh god, we're all TikTok people.
He's sickened.
Sapphire kind of looks over and then looks over at Cass.
Only Ari and Ozra saw it.
Okay.
you saw shit, son.
Ozra will
Good,
have
because I'd be
noticed.
teasing
But,
otherwise.
Ozra will have noticed, but she's been quite withdrawn this morning, so doesn't really
Engage.
react to it. Just lets her have her
Ari
reaction.
will see it, note it, and note it internally for later when they're alone.
Okay. Don't forget Malika wishes to see you before you leave.
That is true. That is priority number 1. You never want to.
I could probably help you get to. I assume you are from the Highlands in Toa, Ruby, with your and looks at your attire and tartan and such.
I am, but I think I can get us there anyway. I mean, I can, because I can do the spell, but I don't think I need to. And she sort of like rolls up a bit of sleeve and looks at the mark of autumn.
Well, I'd only advise using somebody else's magic rather than your own, and looks around just in case the Archfey of Summer's listening. Use their spell slots. Are you okay, Ozra?
Sorry, got a lot on my mind.
I understand Owlbear was a close friend of yours. Solomon said he spoke of you highly while they were in Veer.
He was the bravest man I knew.
I can get behind that. And she looks over to Solomon, who's just chin-wagging with a couple of young geckos. Well, you have as long as you need, all of you, to eat, drink, rest up, and then go to Ruby's home. I hope one day I can visit your family, Ruby, but there are things I need to do here first.
the mention of anyone visiting, Ruby's just like, oh, of course, I hope so too. Like, visit, you will come to us, you will be fed.
Solomon opens his
There will
mouth.
be
Not you.
hosting.
Not you.
Ruby will have the whole tribe over. She don't care. She's like, Mum, can you set some extra places?
Solomon's grounded at the minute. So,
Oh, there's something. Ruby pauses and then goes, Cass, did you say last night there was something you were supposed to tell your dad?
Oh,
Severin looks straight at Caspian.
yeah, Dad, Mum knows about Toodles. And then just goes
Okay.
back to like,
Solomon is like, what?
Sapphire's just
What?
like done a spit take with his tea.
Who is this?
did
like laughing.
I did think your interaction with Toodles was a little bit weird.
What's that, Zabir? And Solomon just walks off into the crowd.
Oh, he's so dead. He's
Oh, I
so
love
dead.
it.
Severin just stands there. I'll deal with your father.
Try not to.
Don't worry, Zandria. I've not had this much fun in years. I'm sure Sahar would approve. And she looks up and then across out to the dunes. Now, take care of yourselves. Please say goodbye before you go. I'm going to go bully your father. And she walks off
Oh,
after.
well, give me a hug before you
She
go in
comes
case,
back.
in case you're busy. Then just like
And gives you a big hug.
Ruby's like, get it in now. So Ruby will do the hug and the goodbye in case people are busy or whatever.
As she walks past, she just puts her hand on Ozra's shoulder, squeezes, and then walks off into the crowd.
Zora will put her hand over Zaren's before she goes, and to let her leave after.
Inflict wound. Oh, Jesus! Don't touch me!
It's quite nice to feel a cold hand in the hot desert.
Oh, God, yeah. On the forehead, on the forehead.
Yeah, I was-
So, you've got basically a morning to refresh up, have a little chinwag, what you want to do, Malika, Toa, whatever you want to do. 3, 2, 1, go.
Pretty much as soon as like you can kind of get Cass off alone, he'll just be like, "Can I have a word?"
Cass and Harry, you are now alone. Scene change.
Your mum, she reacted to what we were saying about Tsunami King. You might want to ask her about it. I know you keep like not going through the doors that keep appearing and all this kind of stuff, but you might want
Someone-
to actually ask her.
needs to stop touching stuff amongst all of us. It's not going to be you, and it's not going to be Sapphire. Sometimes things are best left where they are.
He's trying so hard not to be the anime protagonist.
Sometimes they come back to bite you in the ass when you least expect it. Looks
go-
pointedly at Rapier.
Well, that does kind of sober him quite quickly. I'll speak to her before we go and see Malika.
That's all. Just thought you might want to know.
Is anybody else?
And-
Go on.
He'll head off sort of after the mother.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to do anything before you... I assume you're all going to go to Malika first?
Yeah.
Yeah, once sorted breakfast and getting ready and stuff.
Okay.
Sapphire wants to seek Solomon out.
Okay. So, Kess, you catch up to Zarin. You've got enough space that you're confident that you're on your own, or without a earshot of other folk. Yes, dear?
Ari said it's probably nothing that he thought you might know something or had a reaction to that stupid tsunami shit.
Did he now? You don't seem bothered that there is a title hanging over your head given to you by your sister, it sounds, or
gnome in a tavern what feels like 1,000,000 years ago said it, and it's not gone away the entire time. And Drea means that as a joke.
she takes your hands and just looks you dead in the eye. Answer honestly this next question. Do you want to know?
I don't know.
I'm not going anywhere. When you want to know, seek me out again. The answer is longer than we have to spare right now. Don't seek your father out. Come straight to me. But only when you want to.
We didn't think we would come back from Ravenholm the first time. I just worry how much borrowed time we are on this time.
If I'm honest, me and your father didn't expect to see either of you again. And despite what's happened over the last couple of days, I'm glad you did. Maybe when things are a bit quieter in Ravenholm, we can come to you.
You desperately don't want to go there.
Toodles owes me.
The Copper Forest is beautiful, but it rains constantly.
1,000 years in the desert, I would welcome the rain for a few days.
You were always wiser than the rest of us.
Yes. Please, when you're ready and you want to know, seek me out. And we will sit, share drink and bread, and we will talk until the sun sets and rises many times. And I will tell you all about the Tsunami King, my dear boy.
Thank you.
And she kisses you on the forehead. Now, why is that large lion hunting your father?
I don't know, but he probably deserves it.
Walk
I don't
with
know
me.
which one I mean.
Walk with me. And she just puts her hand out for you to take.
You will.
And you begin just pouring around the camp. Sapphire, as you stalk Solomon through the crowds of summer fair, you catch up with Solomon. He's just like walking through some of the young'uns that are like practicing with their wooden weapons, the young fair, the young geckos. He's just slapping them overly hard on the back. Just a bit too boisterous this time of morning. And he sees you coming towards him. Ah, Sapphire. Morning. Have I already said that? Where's Zerin? And he's looking around.
It's okay. I'm not going to come annoy you about anything. I've got to hand you back your ring. I don't want to take it with me, even if I would appreciate the coolness going to see Malika. I don't want to end up accidentally disappearing off and taking it with.
Is it not rain or sunny anywhere else in Colossus?
Yeah. But
Do you like the heat?
I hate the heat.
Well, keep the ring, my friend. I love that. I hate the heat. You weren't there, man.
Are you sure? I mean, it was a loner a couple of days ago, so...
Well, you can handle yourself pretty well, Sapphire, and I need someone who's not dying of heat exhaustion protecting my nippers. In the most desert Yorkshire voice you've ever heard in your life. I tell me that. Second June, not right.
He smiles quite big and gives him an over enthusiastic slam on the back too.
All right, steady.
No, I appreciate that, and thank you for everything in Bay. I'm sorry that I took you there. If it wasn't for you, though, I don't know if I'd come back.
It's been a while, Sapphire. It has definitely been a while. But we survived. We saw a 20-foot demon. There was lots of But yeah, we survived. And I got to see Toodles again. Just gives you a little punch on the arm. No? Okay.
You are specifically trying to push it, and you don't know me well enough. I will run with it, and it will be really funny for me, and probably not so great for you, because Zarin will be around.
Zarin is going to hurt me in ways I don't want, so I'm just going to enjoy it as much as I can now. There's a little break in his voice.
In for a copper, in for a gold, I understand.
Platinum at this point. Dragon Horde.
Then I do not envy you, my friend.
One day,
Thank you.
you'll understand.
I don't know if I want to, but thank you. And he'll kind of hold out his hand, like a goodbye kind of thing.
Before you go, is Harry a good one?
I haven't known Ari massively long, but I like Ari, and I think Ari is good for Xandria, if that's what you're asking.
It was what I was asking. It wasn't how most folk would answer that, but you got there in the end, Sapphire.
I think Xandria is an interesting person, and I think Xandria does good things for Ari, and I think Ari does good things for Xandria.
Did Xandria tell you to say it like that?
When I met Xandria, she had a knife to my throat.
There we go.
It pretty much hasn't massively gone uphill from then, but...
Well, you're doing better than most. I mean,
Yeah,
you say it
she
hasn't gone
used the
uphill
knife.
much, but most interactions with Xandria, if you don't like it, it's downhill quick.
I can imagine that. But I think I think Ari's good for Xandria. If Xandria actually ever bothers, letting him in.
Well, they were holding hands last night. Calm yourself. Sapphire, come on. Subtlety. And kind of squashes your cheeks back together to make you stop smiling.
So I feel like, okay, no, that's fine. I'm gonna file that one away and hit Xandria with it when she's not ready. Thank you for that information.
It's been a pleasure knowing you, Sapphire.
You have known me for a very short time, Solomon. When have I ever seemed like I put my own well-being in the forefront of my mind?
Well, there was the time with the... No, I see what you're saying. And for what it's worth, I am sorry for what happened to the temple. If I'd have known that's where we were going, or what we were walking into, we could have been a bit better prepared. Not that I think the outcome would have been different, but...
I wasn't quite sure what I was going to see either. I had a vision that was all death and gloom, and then Ruby had a scrying that seemed to suggest it wasn't so bad. But now we've seen the weird kind of magics they can do. I wasn't prepared either. I wasn't sure what we were walking into, and I really appreciate you coming with me.
You did the right thing, though. You got to check on your family.
It's partly why we're here too. Don't know if Andrea would say it, but her and Kes were very keen to come see you all.
I know. Right. Go. Get out of my face. Got stuff to do. And just
He laughs.
takes you into a massive hug, gives you a big squeeze, as much as he can to your large, floofy self, and walks off. And then stops and turns back around. Unless Osra says otherwise, I'm keeping Owlbearer's sword. It means a lot to me to stand next to another warrior. And I have plans for it that will honour Owlbearer's name. But if Osra mentions it or asks for it, let me know, I'll immediately return it.
I will do. I don't know how well you... I'll let her know. I'll see what she says.
I know what Osra's been with us a couple of months in the tribe. She's always held a great account of herself. Her and Sahar did wonders defeating these darklings in the last few weeks. So She too has the respect of the tribe.
And unlike the others that are here, you've seen part of where those darklings come from.
I have.
You know what's potentially coming. Make sure that they're as shored up as you can.
I'm going to look into something called the True, Sapphire. And I wish you to do the same. When you go travelling, ask around about the True. It will be ancient history. But it is akin to the things that you were talking of, these entities of death. It's just an old story from when I was a child. But it's the
I can find out.
only thing I have. Right. Hugs you again. Get out my face. and goes off into the camp.
He will laugh and monk speed it back to the party. Probably kicking up a bit.
So, as you're monk speeding it back and you're all sat around the camp, we're going to take a 5-minute break, 10-minute break. Are you alright with that, guys?
Sounds good,
Cool.
Biggin.
Yep.
We're going to have a quick break chat because I want to brew and Zulu. So take care of yourselves for 5 minutes. Wow, saying goodbye then. Right, we'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. During the break, you'll see an advert for the GSCon at the beginning of Manchester. Fuck!
Every single time.
It's happening again!
I did it
I did it last night as well, just saying.
The beginning of August in Manchester.
Oh, it's again.
Hello. In Manchester, 6th and 7th of August. I'll be doing a D&D one-shot for 8 to 10 people for about 4 hours at the con. It's a brilliant con. They are raising money for folks with mental health well, everyone has mental health, but you know what I mean. Folks who are dealing with certain mental health issues and are using gaming to help cope with it, and they're raising money for that flavour of coping, which is amazing, to be fair, because nerds love it. So, if you are going and you want to book a ticket, use the code EMRIS10, as you can see in the chat, and you'll get 10% off. Emrys is the beautiful Zandria and is sponsoring the con, and if you go to Emrys Plays, which we'll throw the link up, you can see her streaming her stuff. But yeah, go check out, get some discount on your tickets, and yeah, watch the little intro thing. It's cool. The little video on the break. Right, we'll be back in a sec. Break time. And we're back, I think, hopefully. Yeah, hang on. Yeah. Right, welcome back. Second part, D&D, session 50, 60, 40, 66. Funny number incoming. These lot are currently with the tribe of the Al-Haris and the Shadan Tarus. They have had some breakfast. Gasfion has had a word with Mama Bear Summer Breeze. Sapphire has had a word with Papa Bear Summer Breeze. Are you all ready to go? Or not?
Think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
As you all congregate back together, you are led to one of the portal stones, like the stone archways that will lead you to the Summer Realm. It is activated for yourselves by one of the Shadan, actually. Activate it. And woof 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 woof. That is my teleportation sound. You all appear in the oasis of the Al-Habun, the Summer Realm, the Fair Realm that is a beautiful oasis, golden globes scatter the blue skies as if stars in a night. There are cacti and purple and blue and pink flowerings, and the enormous courts of rivers running around this beautiful oasis. You have been requested to visit Malika and speak of what has happened these days past. Going to the same place you went before, the palm tree leaves open. Osra, you weren't here before. That's cool. Were you even here for the description of it? I can't remember.
No, I don't think I was.
So, as you, Vector Goblin, as you, excuse me, as the palm leaves open and it leads into this huge courtyard with the small river that runs around the central piece. You see the palm leaves all hanging down, the orange and yellow golden orbs kind of just floating about the area. And you can see that the throne, it's gravy time. And you see that the throne is kind of grown and encompasses this all-present archfey. Her red hair at this moment in time, it goes up in a single mohawk from the bang center of her head all the way up into the sky, and then just comes down behind her, almost like a horse's mane over the back of her head. The sides of her head completely bald shaved, very different to how she was before, and the green's robes that look one with the growth around her kind of separate as she stands up, or as they stand up, sorry, and see you all enter the court of summer. As I get off. Back. Hey, come on. What's going on here? Sunscape's decided to be angry. 2 seconds, campus.
Still at the market.
Yeah. Throw it back.
Sirenscape has simply decided to riot and not.
Yeah, it's not working out for me. I don't know about yourselves.
Don't know.
No.
Maybe
Can't.
Just
Sirenscape's scared of Malika.
Yeah, he might just want to.
Oh no, I hear. It's very quiet.
I heard nothing.
I mean, I don't
There we go.
blame it.
Some
There we go. Birds.
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 Of course,
Of
it's
course
bad.
it's birds.
Happy bird.
Hey.
Okay, never mind. Why is that super quiet?
The birds are super quiet. Like, I have the thing turned up to max and I can barely hear them.
Oh, I can just hear him.
They're getting there.
There we go. Right. If a random harpist comes flying in on a vine, my apologies.
Pay no attention to the harpist.
That's how
Fucking
harps sound,
bard.
yeah?
It's alright, it's not diegetic. You can ignore it.
Oh dear.
It is diegetic. It's always diegetic.
So, as you hear the happy birdies in the court of summer, Malika stands from the throne, some can call it, and kind of just steps down. The huge leaf, like lily pad type things, kind of move around in the water as every step she takes. There is a light rippling in the water as if someone has dropped a grain of sand onto the water, and tiny little ripples just ripple out every step she takes all over the water. As she comes closer, she appears taller than you all, but it's more a presence thing than a physicality thing.
I mean, everyone appears taller than Ruby.
Yeah, that is true.
For the next 5 minutes until we get to town.
Yeah, the land of the giants. She just looks at you all. There is a broad smile across her face, with a almost wickedness behind the eyes. Good morning, all.
Ruby, this is the time to be like super polite and respectful, so Ruby will give her a very formal good morning greeting in silver with the little pigeon bob bow.
Just pats you on the head. Summer breezes. News reaches my ears that you cleared out the darklings.
That is correct.
And in comes... Will you get down from there?
There's Miguel.
Yeah.
You said you had that Tempest Max. I've got like that much volume, and that came through really loud.
I think
for
I've
me,
just...
so, yeah.
I nearly
maxed up as well.
lost my ears. when I
Bloody
came through.
Miguel ruins everything. Anyway. Yeah, that is correct.
A little gecko just gets like punted out of a tree. Hang pipes are gone. Yeah.
Actually playing with his nose. That's very accurate. He is now. Was anybody lost?
Yes, Sahar was lost to us.
What of the child of the mountain? I felt their soul pass over my trees.
They were lost to us upon returning to camp. It seems as though there was somebody there using the face of... and then...
This one, and look straight at Ozra.
Yes.
I have seen your face in my sands, but not your face. And actually points at you.
How long have you seen that?
Maybe the passing of a moon? Why is there two of you? And why are you surprised, but not?
There shouldn't be two of us. She's wearing my face.
Just raises one eyebrow.
To what end, I don't know.
And they took the mountain child's soul?
She did.
And what of you, small eagle? How did you fare in the tunnels of the Darklings?
Some weird stuff happened, but yeah.
Weird stuff. You fought a force of Darklings, creatures cursed by yours truly. And all you have to say is weird stuff. Did you celebrate? And then looks at Xandria and then back to yourself. Your victory against the weird stuff?
I celebrated the life of Sahar and Albera.
A fine response. And what of yourself, Kitty Cat? I hear you travelled far and left my people to face the Darklings. I hope your travels were worth it.
I found my people slaughtered by an extraordinarily powerful demon. The same order of demons that is sending the Darklings. The troubles are worldwide, not just in your sands, I'm afraid.
These pale creatures.
Yes.
It is the pale creatures that I have called you here today for. They are releasing what I do not like. An end to things. A finality. A death, some would say. how would you call it? My cousin. They who walk spring bring life to Colossus and spread it far and wide. The pale do not wish for such things to be spread, for a life to exist. They bring death into Colossus, an ending, an absolution. Why are mirrors relevant? And stares at Sapphire.
I feel like that also brings on a stare from both of the Sebs as well. Like, yeah, Sapphire, why are mirrors important?
According to sources that I spoke to, the Creator Titan has trapped some aspects of death.
You speak of Strand.
I speak of Strand. Yes. I'm never sure whether calling higher powers by name is a good or a bad thing.
They have a name, you should use it.
Thank you, that's good to know. Trapped them in a dimension that can be accessed through special mirrors. Helthias, one of the leaders of these demons, is wearing one around his neck like a holy symbol.
What are you going to do about it? Still looking at Sapphire.
I mean, I'd quite like to smash them to hell and make sure these things don't get through to our world. It seems like the Pale Ones are trying to collect enough specific types of healing energy to give life to these things that never had it.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Where do you go next? Looks around to you, laser eyes upon Xandria.
I believe our next stop is to visit the Torn Highlands.
Both eyebrows get raised. A look at Ruby, back to yourself. Drink well.
Is that aimed at Ruby or Xandria?
She looks at you at the mention of the Torn Highlands and looks back at Xandria and says, drink well. You're all very quiet. It's nice. No, looks around for the flutist.
He's been strong-armed away.
Harry hide his flute like.
Just see just a swinging vine empty. Just. No, he's on the pipes now.
There you go.
No.
Hides the pipes.
I have a request. And they make their way back to the throne and they sit upon it, and their green robes just kind of fold in, and now you just see this, like, from the neck up, appear in this throne. Well, two requests, really. One, I need you all to live. You are telling a fine tale, and I do not wish it to end. It will be good to hear its longevity around my fires. And two, looks at Sapphire, and back to Kess, and back to Xandria. If the opportunity arises, I wish the mirror in front of me. I will see an end to this darkness, this death, this absolution. There is no fire the summer cannot. Just bring the mirror before me.
So you wish?
You may go.
Xandria will do a low bow before about turning and leaving.
Ruby will follow suit.
Harry?
Oh, well,
Harry's like,
Harry not the
gone.
sprinter.
Harry's like bowing but walking backwards, like,
Yeah.
don't take your eye off.
Fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't.
Before
fuck
you
it
go,
up.
Harry. No. Sapphire, I guess.
You'll follow out the back.
Yeah, turn to leave for sure.
Osra?
Yeah, she'll hold on to her holy symbol and bow and then leave.
Palm leaves close. Malika's disappears from view, and you're back out in this summer fairground amongst this oasis. And there is a lot of energy right now out and about. And it begins to rain.
Oh, that's nice.
And the water is not freezing, but it is of a coolness. And within the summer realm, you are aware that despite the beaming sunshine that is here, the heat doesn't come at you as aggressively as it does in the material realm. What are you doing?
Preparing to head to tour, I guess.
How are you getting there?
That's why. Sorry. Sorry, Luke, you were saying something.
No.
Oh.
Looking at Ruby, you're the one that wants to go to tour.
So Ruby's kind of like looking around because she is kind of aware that they came here from autumn and maybe they're supposed to go through autumn, or maybe she should just cast Tree Stride, but she's not entirely sure. But she is kind
Just
of
let me know.
Sips, like, I just got here, I don't know the way out. Am I even allowed to use magic in Malika's place? Like, sometimes it's rude to use magic when people don't want you to. But out loud, all of that will come out as, well,
Do you think would it amuse Malika?
did we come from that way?
It doesn't matter what way we came from.
If you would like my honest advice, Ruby,
Please.
I would suggest that maybe we go back to the Copper Forest and then maybe travel from there. I have a feeling that traveling straight to the Torn Highlands through Malika's realm might not anger her as much, but I don't think she will be as impressed. Whereas we know that Toodles is a lot more forgiving.
Or it might amuse her greatly.
Or it might amuse her greatly. However, are you willing to take that risk, dear brother? This early in the morning.
They seem in fine spirits.
Just let me know.
That is the advice I have given you, Ruby, but ultimately the decision is yours. There is a cat at my feet.
So, Ruby, you have an angel on one shoulder, a devil on the other. I'm not saying which is which.
It's a fae on
For
each.
once! For once! It's not Zandria.
No, Ruby will think no, maybe we should go back through autumn, then I can check on the trees as well.
How are you going to get back to Autumn?
Could we not go the way we came in?
Toodle Centers.
But Ruby has the ability to go back, I believe.
Oh, no,
Not like that.
I thought there were, like, the seasons would have had ways between them, but no, if it's just, in that case...
I think we've kind of annoyed the hell out of Toodles for now anyway. She's lovely, but at some point, us popping in and out has got to be taking the piss.
What's the worst that could happen?
Not sponsored by. But love the stuff. It's entirely up to you, Ruby. You are aware that the trees, the copper forest trees that you are planting, are real trees. Like the autumn realm is obviously a bit wishy-washy at the minute. You obviously had your inclinations of your lovely new autumn mark. So it's entirely up to you. As many demons and angels you've got on your shoulders.
We will go back to the Copper Forest because of what Sapphire said. Maybe we should at least like pop in and say thank you, and we will not be bothering you anymore. And also thank you, lovely Archfey of Autumn. So Ruby will turn to the nearest plant, cactus, palm tree, and cast
open the
Tree
ball.
Stride.
Cool.
But I'm going to use the mark.
As Ruby puts
My spell slot.
her hand out, you see the leaves and stuff that are marked across her arms, and the sylvan glyphs alight in a nice coppery glow, and the tree. And you see the portal appear on the tree, and just beyond it you can see the twisted form of the oak and ash trees that entwined with one another.
Go, go, go.
So it sounds like Ari's first one through. Whether Ruby was halfway through or not, she gets like shoved out the way as Ari dives for safety.
No, he knows she's gonna like take
me
the
out,
time to
somewhere.
cast the thing.
So,
Take your time
portal
to cast it,
opens.
but then
Is there any
sprint through
reason
it.
that none of you, or one of you, wouldn't go through?
No.
Cool.
Sapphire decides. No, I'm kidding.
Not happy.
Me and you, Donkey, on a whirlwind adventure. You go through the
Sapphire's
portal,
forced through at sword point.
and as you step out, it is a bit of a wow sort of moment. As the flutist has followed you. I hate that guy.
Hate that guy.
In a
He's
free
been
ride.
exiled from somewhere.
This is like him taking a guitar solo without permission. It's just
Yeah.
every now and again.
just getting on with it. Like, what are you doing? Come on, Steve. So, as you step through, you can hear the autumn birds chirping and such. In the immediate vicinity, you are aware that it is currently winter, at least in Ravenholm, and deeply into it. There is a frost on. You see the cottage off to your side, which is pristine. There is no winter touches the cottage in the woods. However, the rest of the forest has that hardened frost on the floor. Some of the branches are frosted, but there is that deep green leafery to some of the trees that just refuse, even in winter, to let go of their leaves. And the magical copper-barked trees, encouraged to grow by the Fae and by Lady Ruby. The power of Ruby's spell and the efforts of the humans and the Fae that remained from the war with the Copper Forest. The forest is thick, Ruby. Like, you are just in awe of it, going from that little garden with the saplings where you were kind of just helping out. You've only been gone a couple of days. Granted, there was a bit of a bubble held for you by Toodles, but within a few days, the thickness and healthiness of the forest, there's just a mix of the dark brown bark of Ravenholm and the copper bark of the autumn forest that are kind of just merging and growing in within one another, as Fae Realm and Material Realm are one and the same. The oak and ash that are entwined with one another is massive. Thick branches pouring out, ashen leaves, oak leaves, all spreading out throughout all the branches. Winter does not touch this mighty specimen of the trees. And you see Gideon, Gudian, whatever his name is. You see the child. You see Gedden in his tabard with the silver lance on it and the copper tabard, just walking around. And there's a few more of them now, and there's almost I say unit's a bit strong, but there's a squad of these. There's a couple of red caps, a pixie, there's a centaur, there's a few humans, a couple of the human males from like the north town, the north provinces. You've got a few of the lasses from down in the Forge provinces. There's a mixture of humans and Fae, all in these copper tabards with the silver lances, and they look pretty uniformed. And they're kind of going about the business, and you can see that there's pathways that have been made from the oak and ash that reach out into the forest, and they've got small stone, borders to their paths that have just made these little stone wall thingies, and it all looks very, very well done, but also very natural as they've turned this just oak and ash tree and the glade area into an absolute beautiful piece of gardenry. Gardenry? We'll go with that.
Gardening.
Yeah, there you go. See, I know.
Horticulture?
Landscaping?
Landscaping.
I was never getting that far. You look across to the cottage, and Toodles is stood outside, and she's fixing together a swinging double bench chair thing, and she's just fixing the chains up so she can sit in it. For Ozra, you've never met Toodles, I don't believe. She is a 7-foot satyr. Bright red colouring on her cheeks into the fur, like the fur itself is bright red. It looks like she's got a lot of blusher on there, but it's just a colouring of her fur. Ram horns are very tightly curled to her head. She is covered in a copper robe that kind of flows, and there are leaves over the shoulders like a mantle. And she's gone from, well, you didn't see her the first time around, but she looks as regal as one can for the Archfey of Autumn. And there's a big broad smile on her face as she's putting these chains up, and there's a little red cap next to her who's getting real angry at the fact that he can't help put the chains on, so he's kicking the wood next to her. Toodles is telling him to chill your beans, and turns around and sees you lot there, and she just lets go of the chain. Bent slams into the to the red cap. Red cap's kicking off in Sylvan. Ruby, you've heard these words before, and anyone else who speaks Sylvan. And she just comes striding over to you, does Toodles. Well,
Ruby's reaction, other than beyond the initial wow, trees, is there's this air of satisfaction, but also she's looking at the trees critically, she's assessing her own work, and also
impressive, isn't it? Isn't it great?
They're looking good. I'm quite pleased. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm well, even better. There is a magic in the air now, Ruby. Just look at the trees as she's walking over and she's running a hand on, and as she runs a hand on the bark, on the copper bark, it kind of when you see lava and you see the cracks in it and the light. Imagine there was no cracks, then it cracks, you see the light, and then it reforms again, and it just shimmers beneath. And she just holds it in her hand like it's tangible, and it just fades. But watch, and she goes over to the dark brown bark of the material realm trees, and she does similar, but there's a green light beneath it. I can feel both of them. I can feel autumn all around me, Ruby. And she's dead excited. Nothing like Malika.
They've now lost Ruby and Toodles because they have just gone off on Tree Nerd now. Just Sylvan, 100 miles an hour, the tree.
Yeah, upon coming out from the portal, seeing the cold, Xandria just kind of as if I couldn't hate Ravenholm any more than I already did.
Oh shush! Harry will throw her an extra cloak that he purposely bought because a while ago.
She takes it.
And as the rain tip-taps down, you see Ruby and Toodles just running around like kids in a garden. Gideon walks over, dead, shoulders back. Osra, so you know, Gideon is a 10-year-old Death Knight. just leaving it there.
What a legend.
Just leaving it there.
He's amazing.
We're gonna get
My
on.
favourite NPCs. You kill him, Ailey, there will be trouble.
He's already
Already
dead.
killed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
After Harry killed him, he's a lot harder to kill. I'm just saying. All right.
That is true.
So Gideon walks over straight up to Kesvion and kind of moves their hand as if to do some sort of salute, but then relaxes. Kesvion,
Gideon.
how are we doing? Everyone's alive. Mission went well. I see him. Just starts head counting people. Who's this one? Points over to Osra.
That'd
We
be
haven't-
Osra.
We haven't met.
Hi,
Nice to
Osra.
meet you.
I'm the Lance Lord of the Copper Forest. Well, I'm one of the Lance Lords of the. We're all of them, and he points across to the rest, and they all sort of go dead straight. The Fae don't. The Fae look at all the humans going regimental soldier like and be like.
Very impressive.
We protect the Copper Forest now, and thanks to Ruby, our archdruid of the Copper Forest. She doesn't know this yet. We're going to tell her later. We're going to tell Toodles as well. We've decided, as the protectors of the Copper Forest, Ruby's going to be the archdruid. I mean, look what she's done. And he kind of looks around.
Spectacular work she's done.
Agreed. You lot staying? Are we killing things? Are we I'm ready. I've been practicing.
No.
And summons his half sword in his hand.
Sandra just puts a hand on his head, just almost pushing him down, when you get a really excited dog. You push. No.
All right. Makes it go away.
Oswald whispers to him, one day, we'll sneak you out.
Just all right. Just I'm not very good at sneaking. These lot will tell you that.
It's
But
okay, neither am I, says Sapphire.
it's all right. And then walks over to Sapphire, pats him on like the hip. One day, and then looks back at Osra. No? Okay. Well, we've got some protecting to do. So don't die. And then walks off.
I love Gideon.
Just as he's walking off, Xandria's like, I don't know if I just want him to cease existing or continue existing because it's funny.
Well, he better continue existing.
Something about him felt familiar, comforting.
He's way too excitable.
Autumn needs a little bit more enthusiasm.
There's a particularly
I guess.
suddenly animated, it needs more excitement. There's a particularly animated outburst from Ruby and Toodles.
The season essentially died. It needs a bit more life coming back into it.
You're not wrong there.
Toodles and Ruby met their way back round. Well, well, a little bit out of breath. Drinks? Do you wish drinks? I've nearly finished the scarf.
The scarf?
The scarf, every time you came through, she was sat knitting.
Oh, that scarf.
Only mentioned it 300 times, so alright. I don't mind. Don't mind. Could have had a magic eye.
I see your fates right there.
We had meant to pass through on the way to Toa so that Ruby could go and visit her family.
You have to see the family, Ruby.
It turns out, Toodles, that the stuff that is happening here in Ravenholm isn't just bound to Ravenholm. It's so far every continent that has been visited.
Oh, you mean the demons?
The demons. The demons were in there. They were back home in the desert. We're now concerned that they might be in Toro as well. So we needed to go and check up on Ruby's family.
Well, certainly. Do you need help? I can send you there, Ruby, if you wish. Save your magics, just in case. I don't want to put a negative spin on the trip, but if you do go and there is friction, maybe, or conflict, let me send you when you're ready to go.
Thank you, and thank you for sending us everywhere all the other times.
Oh, don't worry
Stop
about it.
bothering
Look,
you now.
I mean, look what you've done. And there's gestures to this thick forest of coppers and greens and browns.
looks stunning.
If I ever get another 8 hours to spare, I'll come and do another half mile.
You've done enough, Ruby. Believe. Well, do you have time for a drink, or I suppose after that you might want to rush off? I don't know. And you are more than welcome. Don't ever think you are bothering me. I'm not Malika. Looks around.
You are certainly not.
Oh, I know.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hugs Harry.
Oh, she did.
Don't worry, Harry.
She actually
It's not like
has...
you're,
She's...
looks at Xandria. She's a mini Malika. just points at Xandria.
Whilst I find that flattering, I would also like to think that I am a little bit more approachable than Malika. Right, is Kes actually laughing out loud?
He's like, that's
Toodles
some
just
good
grabs you,
trees we've
Xandria.
got around here.
Just grabs you with a strength that you're like, okay. Hugs you and looks straight at Harry. Yeah, and then puts you back
Sapphire
where you were
is
standing.
biting his lip.
I'm waiting for Sapphire to go, why are you shaking your head?
Even he's not that clueless.
Go away with it for those pesky cats.
Malika has actually asked us to get a hold of one of these mirrors that seems to be
What mirrors?
causing some issues. There's, I think, a mirror that's holding some creature, creatures inside that the Order of the Pale are worshipping. Have I assessed that right, Sapphire?
I as close as I understand it, yeah.
It's not
I
so...
knew what Sapphire did. I thought we did.
Are you asking Toodles?
Yeah.
I believe you informed me taking a drink off somebody that he
That'll
wasn't
be the one.
supposed
Them's
to.
the mirrors.
Sapphire face palms.
Yes.
Those mirrors.
Don't worry about it, Sapphire. I'm sure everything will be okay. However, for these creatures and mirrors and the pale, maybe the original Jezerit knew something, but those memories are not quite here yet. So, but I will. They come to me all the time. So if anything does spark recognition, I'll immediately. I'll send Gideon. He'll like that.
She did also mention that obviously the Order of the Pale do not like spring, so
Well,
that could be.
spring is very energetic.
It could be a target.
As a out of character question, would they know where the sort of material realm foothold for spring was?
So with spring, there is an element of that they kind of fall into the elements. So like summer went somewhere hot and fiery, Ravenholm, the rain and such. You can assume that the winter realm, the true winter realm, not the one moving into Ravenholm at the minute, would be in the colder lands.
Yeah.
Spring falls into just life. That's its element. It's life. So it's similar to your tribe, and then it's got a nomadic essence to it. Of when it's ready for spring, you know about it, and that's what the Summer Breeze know. They know. Sandra and Kesper know that when spring's ready to be like, hey, I'm springing here, you'll know about it.
Yeah.
Rather than if we go over there, we can find a way in.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well, I mean, life is very strongly linked to spring, so it doesn't surprise me that these creatures of destruction and death. It's a terrible sentence, but yes, let's hope that there's nothing bad going on at your house, Ruby. And unless I can send you now. Do you wish drinks or food on your way, or have you just eaten? Or
It's only been shortly since breakfast. I hope you understand.
well, other than a walk amongst the new forest, what do you wish to do?
Ruby?
Go. I would love to come back to this and spend more time, but I'm really worried for my family. I think the Pale Order have been targeting people that we care about.
Okay. How would they know?
3 times isn't a coincidence.
Okay. Who did they target?
Well, of all the places in the world.
But you said people. You said they target people you care about.
Sapphire's given family. In summer, it was so close to the tribe that the Darklings were. Ari, obviously, his family and the Wall were one.
It makes sense for them to be here, though. I'm not sure it makes sense for them to be in Vayan, the desert.
It doesn't make sense, but they were. And the only thing that links those 3 places is us.
Okay. It seems a bit personal, but I wasn't there, so I'll take your word on it. Maybe the places are linked?
Maybe I'm paranoid.
Anyway,
I'm
I'm speculating. I have a job to do. You have a family to go see. I'm so excited to do this. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you all ready?
Mm-hmm.
My apologies. I'm Toodles the Jezerit, and turns to Osra.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
All good, I hope. Don't ask Malika. Are you now travelling with them? Are you going as well, or am I sending you somewhere else?
I don't know the geography well enough. Would going to Toa bring me closer to the mountains I need to get to?
Yes.
To Owlbearer?
So, if you imagine a landmass, Toa is the eastern side, Ravenholm's the western, and the northern side is the Pride Mountains, and it stretches from east to west. So its mountains touch Ravenholm, and they touch the Toan Highlands. So you can go from the Highlands to the Pride Mountains if you so wished, but you'd be on the far eastern side of those mountains.
Do I know roughly where I need to get to?
Yeah.
Within the Pride Mountains.
If you cut it into 3, it'd be the eastern side of it. So you'd have left, middle, right. It's the right side of it.
Okay, so going to Toa is
it's not
the
exact,
smart move.
but yeah.
I'll be travelling with them for now, but potentially breaking off at some point.
Okay. Well, good luck. It's nice meeting you for a short period of time. Looks you up and down and goes, I don't think you'll need any of the gifts they've all received. And thank you. It's lovely to meet you as well. And just does this. And instead of it just being a tree that opens a portal, you see a scene appear before you. And there are just rolling hills, small pockets of forests. You can see smoke coming out of chimneys, some beneath the hills, some into the hills, and some atop of the hills, where these hamlets and these little villages appear all over these rolling highlands. You see the mountains, the frosty tip mountains far to the north. You can assume they're the Pride Mountains, Osra. And you can see a coastal, smaller scene at the backside of the highlands as they stretch out. Just follow Ruby. And Ruby, this is just a massive, almost oil painting of the Toan Highlands in front of you.
Right, thank you.
Bye. Just waves. Ruby, when you step, everybody else will step.
Yep, Ruby. We'll give Toodles like a final wave and just step straight through.
Cool. As you all step through, there is a colour of tartan consumes you. And it is grey and green is your tartan?
Yeah.
It is a colour, it is grey and green tartan, who knew? And it blurs your vision. And it is comforting. And then you feel it wrap around you like a woolen blanket in the winter. As you step out of this scene that Toodles created with her magics, following Ruby's lead, you step into it's wet, but not pissing down like it was in Ravenholm. That was a very high fantasy description.
Ooh, have we got mizzle?
It's mizzle. It's a bit grimy, but it's kind of warm. There's a little bit of stickiness in the air. The Toan Highlands.
I can feel the
this.
Medgies already.
Oh, they're all over. There's a sprawling mass of rolling hills, deep valleys as far as the eye can see. Looking all about you as you're entering this hamlet from the small trees that cluster on the outside of the entrance to this hamlet, you can see lots and lots of halflings. In the forests, following down the down the valleys, you can see smaller creatures similar to the halflings, but it seems their skin is painted in wards. The hills all around you have buildings built into them, full-on hobbit holes. There are hamlets and buildings on top of the hills. You can imagine that they go deeper beneath your feet as you look down and swear that you feel the someone normally running on the ceiling in your flat, but beneath you. You can see that there are trees that are decorated that all lead into all these hamlets that all sprawl, and it's like a highway, like a mess of roads that lead off to other hamlets. And these hamlets are, if they were all to come together, will probably form a large town. But just where you're standing, moving your way down into this hamlet, as Ruby's at a bit of pace now, you can see that these roadways kind of just lead off and twist around these hills and lead into other little hamlets spread all around. There are halflings everywhere. There is tartan everywhere, reds, blues, greys, greens, all shades of green, all shades of reds, different makeups of the different colours. There are some that are like of a teal blue, a darker blue. There are a pinkish coloration with other whites and greys. And you are definitely in the vicinity of what appears to be a halfling populace. Ruby is straight bolting, straightforward. Loads of halflings kind of not really knowing that Ruby's disappeared. Just morning to you, morning to you. There's lots of mornings. How do you do's? Ruby is like half nodding, and you can see she's at pace, going where she wishes to go. Obviously. Right.
Scottish War halflings. Okay.
I love Tower. Halfling clans. There you go. So, as you are heading towards what clearly Ruby knows where she's going, Ruby, if you describe your house, I will introduce your family.
So as we clear part of the hamlet, we're starting to come farther away. This is more to like a homestead and a farmyard rather than, and you can assume that the mass of land directly behind it going up, like not mountainous, but it's quite hilly, and there's just sheep. They're just sheep everywhere, and occasionally you'll see like a much faster moving dog like shoot past and herding the sheep up. But more directly in front of you, the yard is fairly nondescript. It's muddy, there's chickens, there's geese and farm buildings. It's a working farm, but the garden in front of the homestead is incredibly well kept. Just absolutely, someone is meticulous about keeping this garden. And it seems to be divided. On one side it's flowers, on the other side you're seeing, I don't know if any of you would recognise like a vegetable garden, but it seems to be that decorative on one side, functional on the other, leading up to a fairly plain door that has dog roses growing around it. The other thing that maybe Ari might have noticed walking through the hamlet is that the clothes people are wearing while they're plain are as good quality, if not better, than you would see in any of the high houses, because this is where cloth is made. This is where wool is made. That wool cloak that you saw somebody wearing there probably came off that sheep over there last winter. So it's that kind of, there's not a lot of riches in terms of gold, but this is where a lot of Colossus resources come from. So a lot of like the farm stock and the like things like cloth and that are easily, like, well, not easily made, but it's the kind of sorry, I'm getting overexcited and just it's like, this is about like in those, like the gastropub we went to back in where they say like, oh, everything's like this artisan halfling bread, and this is
just bread.
Here it's just bread. Yeah. So it's any food that you walk past smells incredible, and
it's fresh.
It's fresh, and Ruby hesitates in the garden.
As you hesitate in the garden, Ruby, you hear a
Yeah.
and running towards you, and you all see what you immediately think is Ruby's healing spirit. But it isn't. This is a real-life, living, breathing dog. As Kai, your young pup, well, no longer a pup, comes running in and just all over you, Ruby. Like face, ears, neck, like nose, like... This is probably the most aggressive fight you've had since you left. Kai is all over you.
Ruby hears it. She's literally on her knees, arms out, as she's just laughing as this dog goes mental all over her. And some of you have like picked up a couple of words in Halfling from Ruby, but from context, what you can gather is that this dog is a good boy. He's a very good boy. and Ruby's very happy to see him.
As you are like half in the mud with Kai, the door opens. Like Kai's like, rah, 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 like joyous barking, which
The
is like,
entire body's
yeah, just everywhere.
Yeah, whole body wagging.
You just hear this, Kai, will you shut up? And the door opens, and you see a stout halfling woman, curly dark hair, starting to grey around the edges, big, kind brown eyes. She is in the same tartan as Ruby. She has a big apron on herself. She is definitely of a middle age for for a halfling folk. She comes bounding out, kicking off with Kai, sees you lot, looks down at Ruby, Ruby, and just runs forwards as your mother engulfs you as best she can, Ruby. From like she doesn't let you get up off the floor. She's on her long dress is kind of half going over her head, and you see her pushing it back down, and she's just jumping, and then she rights herself, gets up, guests, just pulls you to your feet, and just kind of stands there, straightens herself like she's in front of, like she's nobility. Just sorts herself out, looks at everyone. Well, introduce.
All right. It just goes around and goes, Cass, Ari, Xandria, Sapphire, Arsra, Mrs. Megan Irwin.
Pleased to meet you. And does a bit of a flourish towards Ari, and then looks back up. I'm not going to remember your name, so Ruby's friends is come on in, and you. You need a wash, Ruby. Let's go. Come on. And she just starts pushing
Ruby
you in.
starts to back up. Like, I think I'm going to take the dog for a walk.
Come on. Whistles Kai's immediately at Mama's feet. I'm the boss
Traitor.
now. And he starts pushing you into the house. You lot, follow. You'll need to bend down, you biggin. Points across to Sapphire. Mm-hmm. You, come on. Just pushes you in.
Yeah. Okay, so Sapphire, Ruby ducks under the door.
It's a halfling house, 6'6".
Ruby's
Sapphire.
5'4". Ruby ducks under the lintel.
Oh dear.
Mama Irwin is about 3'8".
Okay, so Sapphire's like crouched down, almost crab walking it in, I guess.
No,
Army crawling.
Just commando crawl. Just go rug mode.
Rug mode.
As you all walk in, it is typical of a halfling home. There is one large chair at this big sort of off-oval table. It's clearly Ruby's. All the other chairs fit that you would expect of a halfling. And it's almost immediately into the kitchen / dining area. There is a sitting room further back. I said sitting room. It is an area where they finished eating. There's a big hearth there that is of I say human size, but of the big folk size. This large hearth. But the rest of the place is very homely. It's very farmhouse, as you'd expect from the livestock on the way in. And she's immediately she plonks Ruby's arse down. Sit, and just goes, grabbing you all by the hips, pulling you down to the little chairs. Ruby gets her big chair, and she's pulling you all down. She pulls the chair out for Ari, my lord, and just puts
Oh,
the...
stop it, Mum.
Well, look at him. Look how
Look
pretty he is. And she just chubby cheeks Ari. Sit. This one's got money, Ruby. She just moves round. Tea? Anyone want a tea? Tell me, tea? And she just starts making a brew. What? How have you? Where have you? It's been months, Ruby. It's been months.
Everywhere, everything. And just at the thought of explaining everything that's happened, Ruby just grabs her mum and starts crying.
Oh, dear child. And she just takes you in, and she pulls you down to your knees, and you obviously don't resist, and she's hugging you, and she's stroking your hair, and she's doing the whole face you up, but not crying herself at the moment. She's like just patting her. Don't be daft. Oh, and you really do stink. All right, babe. So we've got to get you sorted out. Okay. All right. I love you.
I'm a druid.
We're all druids. And she pats her the head again and looks at you a lot. Right. Come on. Just come on. Sit, and just pulls your dad's chair over to you for you to sit on. Sit down. Your dad will be home soon, and then we can all have a good hug. And we'll feed your friends because, well, maybe not that one, but the rest of them look like they could do with a meal or two. Mr. Cat, do you eat a lot?
I don't. What's a lot here?
We'll sort you right out. You'll probably. I tell
He'll
you
eat
what.
whatever he's served.
I'm happy to eat whatever I'm served. I don't want to be rude.
Right. Well, she puts the kettle on this large boiling pot. Right. I'm gonna go sort you a bath out, which is essentially a tub out back filled with warm water.
Yeah. Ruby
You will
is
be
now
getting in it.
calculating escape routes.
Your dad will be on you.
You can see it in her eyes.
Right. Behave yourselves. I'll be back in 5. Oh, I can't believe Ruby's over, and she just walks off into the back to sort out the bath. She just goes through a hanging woolen curtain. There's no doors in here, and she goes out back, and she's just talking to herself that she's dead excited. Ruby's back. She can't wait to smell jasmine in her hair and stuff, and you can see Ruby I need to get out of here. Code red.
Abort mission.
So you're all left in the kitchen area of Ruby's home.
Well, things
She will
look fairly
literally
safe.
kill me if I don't start serving you tea. So Ruby takes over the making and serving of tea.
Cool.
Sorry, I cut you off.
That's okay. Osdru was just saying, well, from the looks of things are all right here. Nothing fiendish going on.
So far. We thought that in the desert until you and Zahar showed up.
It's true. Maybe that would be the next thing we ask her.
Wait, Mum?
Yes, dear.
Anything weird been happening?
Not for your young ears, dear. Your dad's been round to see the apothecary. I'll let him tell you about it.
What does that mean?
It means something unfiendish.
As you are conversing, the door goes and you hear, I'm telling you, Dad, I can throw that log further than any of those Donald lot down the road. Look at me.
You can't.
Just... No. And in comes running in what Ruby knows to be James Irwin, a.k.a. Big Jimmy. Unusually large and muscular for a halfling, Jimmy is hench, thickly muscled, essentially a miniature lumberjack. Probably could get a deal, selling beard trimmers. Comes running in, has got a decently thick beard growing from sideburner down past the chin. The hair is scruffy and messy. They are all bundled rugby player, and they just walk in, again quite tall, probably not, maybe about 4'2", big for a halfling. You can see that Jimmy pushes his way in, and he's like, Ruby, and as he goes rushing up towards Ruby, he clocks eyes with Andrea, and just this big smile comes across his face. Hello.
Oh no.
You didn't tell me you were bringing friends home, Ruby.
I didn't tell anyone I was coming home.
And he kind of just shuffles his way down in between, say, Ozra and Zandria. He doesn't sit on Ozra's seat, but he just kind of puts himself, and he just got his arm on the table, and every now and then he'll flex. So, been in tow long?
What is it? 5 minutes now?
About that.
10, 15?
Following in behind. Obviously, Jimmy was saying, Dad, you see a rather handsome-looking halfling walking. You can assume was probably quite strapping in their youth. You can see where Jimmy would get the build from, except that, Dad Irwin is mellowing into a beautiful dad bod at the moment. But you can see that there is a element of strength. They obviously work with cattle. They're farmers. lumberjacking and such, just naturally there will be a strength behind Papa Irwin. His face sports truly an impressive black moustache. Although doesn't appear to be very energetic as they come through the door, not quite the same as Megan or Jimmy that you've met so far. Kai comes running over and immediately just very formally follows Papa Irwin into the house, receives a treat from Dad and goes and sits back fussing at Ruby's feet. Ruby, well, dear girl, and just ignores the fact that you lot are there and goes and hugs Ruby as she's dishing up tea. Steps back, rights himself. You're not in his chair because you're making the tea. Adjusts his chair, sits, looks at you all and goes, "How do?" I'm David Irwin. I'm Ruby's father. Welcome to our home, Ruby. How you doing, dear?
I'm alright, and I'm
You
been a long one.
months. It's glad to see you're okay. I didn't expect you to come back with friends. Strays. Well, we're pretty good with the strays around here, and just kind of gives Kai a nuzzle as he's come back over towards Ruby and David. Tea. Oh, thank you. Takes the tea from you. Jimmy. Yeah, Dad. Don't even look. He's just staring at Zandria, giving her the most obvious, shocking, the eyes. You know what I mean? Like he's got 2 glass eyes. And behave yourself. I will, Dad. I will. He just blows Zandria a kiss.
Ozra puts her mace on the table.
Wow.
No, there is no weapons on the table. Mum will go scared.
Don't worry, I got
Sorry.
this. Jimmy picks it up and he just starts holding it. By the Draken. Whoa. And he just starts spinning it around. And then he turns back to
I want it noted I was no part of that.
face Zandria.
I did not give Jimmy a mace.
And he just starts curling the mace. Nice. Not as heavy as I thought it'd be. I've done heavier.
Ruby, are you okay with losing a sibling? Just checking.
If you tell him to piss off, he'll probably piss off, to be fair. I mean,
No,
I can
it's-
tell him for you, but, I've met you before. I assumed he was capable if you wanted to.
I was just checking what the limits were, that was all.
Tell Mum she'll give him a care.
Noted.
Gives it back to Ozra. It's a bit light for me. I like a heavier weapon. Ah! Right, is there any food in here, Dad? And he just goes rummaging through the cupboards just to the left-hand side of the kettle. And then, Ruby, you hear a softer voice. Ruby? Is that you? And as you look into the doorway, you see... You might have to pronounce this. Pearl Bobert? You say it.
You wrote the surname. That surname is taken out of the guide to Tell.
No, not the surname. The Bobert knee. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh, Nay is
Nay.
formerly. She's Borbert, formerly Irwin.
Okay, there you go. You knowing the language is far superior to me writing it.
Because she's married.
Cool. You see a cheerful, pretty halfling woman. Similar looks to, the family that you're around. You can see on her side she has a roll of twine, a couple of needles that are capped with bits of leather, just like almost sewer's kit, just attached to her hip, wrapped in the same tartan as your family, in a over the shoulder type piece. She's carrying a baby. She will.
Ruby straight for the baby. I mean, she hugs Pearl, but that baby is taken
That booby.
off.
That baby!
Get that clipped.
Yeah. That baby is lifted straight out of the sling as the one arm is just like, baby! It's like literally, again, as with the trees, we've lost Ruby, there's baby. Baby niece.
Pearl immediately embraces you both gently, just kind of brushes your messy hair out of your face. I'm so glad you're here. We were a little bit worried that you weren't going to be. Well, we were a little bit worried, so it's good to. Who are all these?
Oh, other family. Strays.
Other family. Oh, strays. Okay, I understand. One of them's got a bit of money.
Yeah, that's what Mum said. But you see the scary-looking one with the face tattoos? She's called Dibs.
Okay.
Ruby, I've not called dibs on.
Does Dibs work around here? Jimmy shouts, gob full of some sort of like stale bread biscuit.
Your dad seemed to think you'd called dibs.
What?
Hmm? Huh?
Did you just say my dad seems to think that I've called dibs?
Such a prick.
Yeah, your dad was, asking about Ari and thought that you two were really cute and, said you were holding hands last night.
No.
We were not. No, we were not holding hands.
Sapphire's like, oh, okay. And nods with like his incredulous look on his face.
Ruby's still going to do. She's going, they were holding hands, weren't they?
We were not holding hands.
Trio was holding Uncle Harry's hands.
Was not holding.
No.
I don't want to. He's human. He's gross. And
Humans are a bit gross. Sorry, Ari.
Look, Pearl whispers in your ear, Ruby. I understand. Dibs. Well, we're about to eat. Are you staying? And just leaves the baby with you, Ruby.
Do you think Mother is going to let us walk out of this house without eating?
Yeah, damn right I won't. She comes storming back up to the front. You, young lady, bath now.
No, I'm holding the baby. I can't.
Takes the baby off you. Bath now. Come on. And just starts ushering you down. Gives the baby to your dad, Dave, who's just sat there like, yeah, okay.
We can finish your hair when it's washed.
You do hair? Follow me. And grabs Caspian by the arm.
Goodbye, brother.
Right, Ruby, bath. You get yourself. I don't want you coming out there looking like no druid. You're coming out there looking like an Irwin. Beautiful and fresh. Like your father. Just not with a moustache. We don't like it. You will shave it.
The teenage sulk is descending.
And you, hairdresser.
Ruby realises there is no way out of this.
You
The
chose
least
this,
she can do
Ruby.
is go down.
You
kicking.
wanted to come home. Accept it. Accept your punishment for coming home.
So as Ruby and Kess are led through the woolen curtain at the back, you're taken to an area which is essentially a washroom, and there is a large wooden tub that seems to be full of steaming water. You see Ruby's mum wave her hand again, and the water bubbles a bit more. And she looks back at Ruby. You're not the only one with magics round here. Right, you, hairdresser, yeah? Don't use those. Points at your swords. Use these. Gives you some, like, sheep shearing scissor types. If you're going to cut, take it easy. There's just been sharp and you watch your fingers. I don't know how good you are with those. No arguing, getting away. Why are you still dressed? Why are you still dressed?
Sheep shears are about a foot long. So Ruby actually kind of like gently takes those from Kat, and she's like, perhaps if anyone's
These are
going to be
halfling
doing
shears, Ruby.
haircuts,
You're fine.
it'll be Darren, who is actually a barber, alright? And I'm not getting undressed in front of Caspian.
Turn around, Kess. There you go.
It just turns around.
There you go. It's nothing to be shy of. What you got to hide? You ain't called dibs, have you?
No dibs.
Yeah, I heard the
works around
conversation.
here, apparently.
I heard you.
No, Ruby has perished. That is it. There is no more.
In the bath.
Rolling
now,
a
sort
new
yourself out.
character.
Come on, Kess.
New
Come on,
character.
Kess.
Ruby's about to drown herself.
You can
in
come
the
into
bath.
our room, and she leads Kess across. And there is a long corridor, and there are lots. There are like 5 doors, maybe, that all lead off. Follow me. This is Ruby's old room. We won't go in there. She'll throw a fit. I can't hear you getting undressed.
Yeah, Ruby's old room won't have any furniture in it
Yeah, that's
because Ruby never slept inside.
Still your room. Still your choice. You getting in the bath?
Yes.
Cool. I feel that was at me rather than a mum. All right, Baldy.
Choose.
Oh, I forgot. She comes back and she pulls one of the curtain towels. If you're shy, and just crosses the curtain across. I want to smell that jasmine from down the hallway. Right, you. Kessfield, is it? Kess, did she call you? If you're not a
Kisses.
barber's, what do you do? Why are you doing her hair? Why have I brought you down here to do her hair if you're not a barber's? Do you eat a lot? How thin are you? Where are you from? Look at them clothes. They're not going to do right round here. They're going to get piss wet through. Follow me. And just takes you into a room, and you can see there's an oaken leaf like symbol on the front of the door. This is Jimmy's room, or James. We call him James. He likes to be called Jimmy. Walks in, and you see that there is just loads of logs about, like just in different shapes and sizes. Ignore them. Maybe we can find you something that'll fit you. You've got a lot of hair as well. What is it? Why have you all got lots of hair? Right, back in the kitchen room. Jimmy's still just ramming his face, and he's kind of sat opposite Xandri now. And he thinks he's eating this bread seductively. He's just ramming stale bread biscuits into his face. Crumbs are flying everywhere. His dad's looking at him, shaking his head. Pearl's taking the baby off Dad at this minute, and she's just kind of jigging him around. Jimmy, finish the tea. But I'm eating, Dad. Finish the tea. I'll make it. How do you like your tea? Asked Andrea.
Oh.
Another trap. The man knows no fear.
Yeah. Do you not answer?
That
Cool.
was the answer, I
That
think.
was the answer.
Cool. I'll make it just how you like it. You lot want tea? Don't even wait for an answer. Steps up and goes to the thingy and starts making more food, and he's pulling extra bits out now. He's kind of got into the swing of it. Mum's busy, Dad's entertaining, and he's started taking on the role of like making the meal that apparently the Irwins are around for. Ruby, as you are in the bath, a squirrel runs in and sits on the edge of the tub. And then another squirrel runs in and sits on the edge of the tub. Two red-furred squirrels. And then there is a large centipede that just kind of crawls up and about. And then a mouse that runs in and nuzzles into your hair that is not yet wet. I just brought something.
And he's gone.
And the DM disappears.
Yeah.
You saw a squirrel.
So yeah, quite literally saw a squirrel. That was it.
This is my new party.
And as the curtain pulls across, you see Robbie, your brother. It's been a few months since you've seen them, but he's still covered in small animals like rodent, like mice and such that are kind of sat on his shoulder. And you can see now that as he's kind of whispering to the animals in front of you, it's not the magical oomph that you put into it when you're casting your druidic magics. It's more a natural skill, a trained skill that Robbie is managing to do with these young creatures. And he just looks at you. The water is bubbled and obviously covering your modesty. Hi, Ruby.
Some people not.
There's nothing to knock on. He just kind of smiles. And he's got an ashen staff in his hand. I brought you this, and it's a large chunk of soap with a strong odour of jasmine off it. Mum never said it, but you ain't going to smell a jasmine if you don't have the soap. And he just puts it on the side of the tub, and he just ponks you on the nose. Dunk. It's a bit noisy in there, so I'll be chilling in my room, but it's so good to see you back.
It's good to see
And he
you too.
bonks you again. They'll stay with you. They've got names, but they haven't told me them yet. And he just wanders away and back to where you just hear the footsteps to the room. You can hear your mother just assume. You can assume she's holding things up to Kess and going, "Too skinny, too skinny, too skinny." You can hear the cluttering going on in the kitchen down the way. You can hear Big Jimmy being quite, subtle. And you hear little baby making baby noises. And on that, we shall call the session there and find out what happens at Ruby's house next week, Tuesday. Yes.
I love this lot. This is
I
adorable.
love that.
So, thank you very much for tuning in, folks. It's been an absolute pleasure. We do have to jump ship pretty quick because some of us have got to do one. Is Ashana on?
Yep.
Cool. We're
Yes.
going to raid Ashana, which is amazing. She's amazing. Say hello. Tell her we sent you. Thanks so much for joining in. Thank you again to Sasha for giving us some of her time. Can't spell Ashana. I'm a terrible person. There we go. Right, so thank you very much. Take care of yourselves, the raids, the follows, etc. You've all been amazing. We'll see you next Tuesday where we find out what's cracking on in Tower. Thank you very much, players. For now, say good night, players.
Good
Night,
night.
players.
Bye bye. Oh, thanks for watching. Bye bye.